Hello, and welcome to Sutro Sidetalk, episode 160. I'm your host, Kamran Shushtar, and with me is...
James Seelig.
And we got a full table here today. With us also, returning once again to talk all things anime, is Momo. Hello.
Hey y'all, glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
And joining us for the first time is another friend of ours, Chris. What is up, man?
Howdy. Not
Chris.
much. I'm just here to talk.
Chris is one of our friends also from Savannah that a large group of us are from, just like Momo here and Andreas before that, among others like Ty and whatnot. So we're all here, though, this week to talk some anime. We're talking Spy X Family. I guess part one is what they're calling it since the part two trailer came out. And both seasons of Komi Can't Communicate. So we're going to have a good time here. Before we do that, though, we do have quick news with Ubisoft. That'll be like 5-10 minutes at the most. And then if you guys weren't here last week, check it out. It was our big old Thor podcast episode, or Thor episode. Yeah. And we had Ryan on from Across the Bifrost and Brandon from Apollo City Comics. And we just talked all things Thor Love and Thunder, plus some Phase 5 stuff and joking about Marvel's visual effects and probably now how the team is going to suffer for Phase 5 because they're never going to go to sleep. And I feel really bad, but it's fine. You know,
Tier,
all good.
just a small tier.
Small tier, yeah.
I feel like eventually Disney will just automate everything and just and they'll just scan the actors in and just like, we can make them do whatever.
Yeah, honestly,
now
I think
own your image forever.
I think John Carpenter's They Live is starting at the production studios for Disney. That's where it all begins.
100%. 100%.
But yeah, we're talking those animes, some news, and at the end of the episode, we'll talk about what's going on next week and whatnot and the other shows. But without further ado, let's just hop into the news. James, if you want to throw on that timer.
Yeah, I'll set it for 10 minutes just to be like the absolute maximum.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're just doing Ubisoft today, and there was a bunch of news that came out that I was not expecting. And it's funny because, Skull and Bones was finally re-announced, and they're like, hey, it's coming out this year. Shocking.
We swear this
shocking.
time.
Yeah, we swear this time. And now I feel like I was joking about it, but I'm like, the price of getting this game that's been like waiting for this, like, I don't know how many years, almost a decade, it feels like. A bunch of other games got canceled and delayed now. Which I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, Ubisoft. But we were also saying,
remember that one Sam Fisher game we mentioned a while ago? Not happening.
Yeah. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which I'm actually kind of sad about because this was one of my top 5 anticipated games for this year. That's being developed by Supermassive Games, the guys that did both Division titles and are making it a Star Wars game too. Is delayed till at the very least April next year because that's the start of their next fiscal year, and that was the delay to that time zone area. Yeah, so I guess it's not coming out with the second movie. Instead, it's going to be in between, and who knows if it's actually going to come out on time. But I am pretty sad about that. But it's okay. One less thing to worry about, and I can get back to my backlog a little bit faster and knock more shit out, if anything. Anyone got anything on this delay? Or
I
think it was just me. I'm the only one that really cares about this game, I think, at this point. But
I'm like curious to see more, I guess. But
we haven't really seen anything, have we?
Yeah, we got the one trailer, and that's why I think I haven't really started getting hyped for it yet because there's just not much for me to latch onto yet.
Yeah. Otherwise, they canceled 2 big Tom Clancy games. One was Splinter Cell VR that no one really... It was one of those things where Ubisoft always kind of jokes about Splinter Cell and kind of crushes everyone's souls. All they want is a new Splinter Cell game, and they're like, here's Sam Fisher and all these other games as a DLC that is everything unrelated to stealth and Splinter Cell. But hey, enjoy them in these fucking whatever bullshits. I don't know. And then everyone's like, so we're getting a Splinter Cell game? And they're like, yeah, VR. And once again, no one asked for that. No one asked for it. They'll take it because it's something.
It's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah. But not
now. It is nothing.
Yeah, it is. It's nothing now. It's canceled. It's gone. Sadness. There is still that remaster they're trying to do, or remake, but they're also doing that Prince of Persia.
Is that confirmed?
Yes, it was confirmed. They were also doing the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, and we all know how that's going. Yeah, it didn't have to change developers or anything. It's not in total shit.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it started off in like an Indian studio and now it's in Canada. So it's going great over there.
Wow.
And then Ghost Recon Frontline, which actually our friend Andreas was pretty hyped about, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah, he does like Rainbow Six.
it is canceled. That was
Yeah,
the
well, never mind.
No. Oh my goodness.
It was a big battle royale that they were gonna do. I think it was like 102
Oh!
players or something.
Oh, what?
Mhm.
Yeah, that he. I think
Really?
he's- yeah,
Ghost Recon Battle Royale. I
Yeah,
mean, I
'cause
guess
so
that could be interesting.
they were making
Could have
two
been.
Ghost Recon games. They were making the next sequel to like Breakpoint and Wildlands, and then they were making this battle royale. It sounded interesting, and Ubisoft is doing great with battle royales so far. The last one was called Hyperscape. That wasn't canceled at all, right? It was like it came out, then it died, and
Did it just die, or was that a beta that came?
no, it
I don't
fucking
even
died.
No,
Dude. It's
Okay,
dead.
okay.
I think it did so
Oh,
poorly
no.
that Ubisoft was like, "Yeah, we're shutting down the servers. It's not
All
worth
right.
it."
Yeah, they
Oh,
said,
saw-
"Don't worry, we have a
I
Ghost
saw-
Recon
yeah.
battle royale next. It's canceled."
Oh.
Oh my god.
I'll bet that
Uh,
was a little
It was that
disheartening.
bad. It was
Yep.
that bad, I guess. Wow.
They didn't make
Wow.
it far with that. I think they're trying to, I guess, slim things down because I was saying it before. We were joking about it, but the amount of multiplayer games that were trying to come out at once. They had another Ghost Recon game that would be co-op, the Battle Royale, Division Heartland. They already have Division 2. There's Rainbow Six Siege. There's Rainbow Six Quarantine now. There is what is it? Far Cry 6 if you count the co-op in there. But there's what was it? What's that stupid game called, James, that they're still making apparently?
X Defiant? Or-
Yeah, X Defiant. That's the worst one.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're making that still, and
The
somehow
one
that
that's
didn't get
like
canceled.
maybe a more competitive focused Siege game, maybe.
It's like
I
Rainbow
thought
Six Siege if
Siege
you
was-
were a cool bus tagger, I
Yeah.
guess. that
Oh,
was a
what?
graffiti artist
Wait, I
who
thought
also
Siege was
shoots people.
already plenty competitive.
It's pretty competitive, yeah.
It's
Like,
not
it's-
enough
it's-
because you have
it's
to be
like-
X Defiant to be totally
But now
competitive.
instead of it
Chris.
being like
Ugh.
instead of it being like a squad thing, now it's more competitive deathmatch.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. They're
I-
also making an online Assassin's Creed game that's going to be like
Yeah.
a kind of
Assassin's
like
Creed
a.
Infinite or something.
Oh wow.
It'll
maybe.
be like consistently. It sounds like rotating, where maybe you're in one timeline.
I was gonna
And then-
ask, like, how that would
Uh,
work? Yeah. Like
I think
what?
it'll be like Fortnite style chapters where each
Okay.
chapter, like Warzone, where it's like, oh, here's this
Oh,
era
Okay.
in time, and
Got
then
it.
it resets to
I don't
another
know
era
about
in
that.
time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's gonna be. Like it sounds like there's like 2 or 3 Assassin's Creed games in the work right now.
I see. Are they ever
because-
gonna have like a Brotherhood style game again? Like the Brotherhood's the one with the cool multiplayer, right?
Well, good news on
Oh.
that. They actually still have the online available for Brotherhood, Revelations, and 3,
Oh yeah, they're shutting all that
and
shit
they're
down.
shutting them all down.
Oh, great.
And the community.
You had to ask, Chris. You had to
I'm
ask.
sorry. I'm sorry.
The community is actually doing like I think like not the developers but the actual fans are just doing goodbye days for each game. They're like, hey, we're all gonna jump in and play these
so
days.
sad. That's
So
cool,
break
but
out your
also-
PlayStation 3s and Xbox 360 to get to it. You want to. Or I guess PC technically.
Oh
But
my god.
yeah. And pretty
did-
soon the oldest multiplayer you can play, which is the only one I think is Black Flag, because Unity was the co-op that went to shit immediately, and then after that they just
right.
completely went to only single player after. So yeah,
Okay, no, this is probably like just a bad old joke, but I actually don't know. Was Assassin's Creed Unity? What engine was it made with? Was it made with Unity?
I feel like they have their own.
Oh man,
I
yeah.
feel like Ubisoft has their own
I don't remember.
engines. Well, they have this. Don't they have the
Yeah.
Snowdrop engine for Division?
Oh,
Isn't that theirs? I could be wrong.
I don't. I
That
played the
sounds
Division
right.
2 and I don't know.
But speaking of Assassin's Creed real fast, there is a smaller unannounced premium game, in quotes, that was delayed, which is apparently codenamed Assassin's Creed Rift, or is called Assassin's Creed Rift, and it is being apparently delayed from February to May or June of next
it-
year.
Yeah.
This could be the next Assassin's Creed single player title, or I think it sounds like it's like a middle ground, like a 1.5 type thing. That's not the big one, because usually they always, I don't think there's ever been an Assassin's Creed game that hasn't come out in the fall. And
I had heard somewhere that like the DLC that there was going to be Cassandra like coming like all the way from like ancient Greece to
Viking times
meet
and shit.
Ivor and stuff. Like they were gonna make a game or at least a DLC entirely on that. That was like it just got way too big. They were like, hey, we can make a whole game out of this. And
I thought the
maybe
DLC
that's
was
it.
already in the game.
They did do a small thing, but that might just be like a prelude to whatever the
Oh.
DLC was gonna be. Or the
I
bigger
make a
one.
whole game for that. That sounds horrible. I don't want to
But-
play that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know.
I don't
I'm
wanna
like
do that.
I'm so far behind on Assassin's Creed
Dude,
games at this point, and they're all like 100 hours long, and I'm like, I don't
Wait,
have
I've got
time.
a.
I
I've
don't
got a
want any
quick
more.
question, though.
I played Valhalla. That's the most recent. Is that the most recent one?
Yes.
Is
I
Valhalla?
think.
Okay, I
I
played
still
My
have to
Valhalla.
brother's
play it.
been playing it for a while, and he's been liking it a lot.
I just
have
got so
Valhalla.
exhausted at the
Yeah.
end. Like I like where Ghost of Tsushima. It's a completely different universe, different thing, but it's like at least it's a smaller map, which I
Mhm.
appreciate. Where Valhalla at the end of it, like I'm not a completionist, so but at the end I'm like I'm done. Just get me to the end of the storyline. Like it's just too much map. But that's just my biased opinion.
Oh no.
Okay.
Mo,
I heard that
you
from a
have-
lot of reviewers.
So,
Yeah.
would you say that there's like too much map, and not enough to do?
I don't know. I mean, there's always that catch-22. I think there's so many like side quests that if you're a completionist, you'd be like either extreme one or the other, where you're like you're in love, like, oh my gosh, so much stuff to do.
You
Got it.
feel
Or
like
you're like,
you're
oh my god, there's
dying.
too much. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I'm done. I'm on it. Like you're,
Yeah.
100 hours in the game, and you're like, can I just finish? Can
I
I just?
had that problem with the with Breath of the Wild, which I love. Don't get me
Mm.
wrong, love that game. But
Dead spots.
whenever I'd go to do something, I'd see something else happening. I'd be like, oh, I gotta do that. And then while doing that, I'd see something off in the distance, and it's like, oh crap, I need to go back to and like buy the climbing gear so I can go and do that. And then 2 days later, I'm like, what was I doing?
That's
I don't
why-
remember.
That's why I can never finish most of the Bethesda games, because every time I go to a
Yeah.
new town,
Yeah,
like I have to talk to everyone. Oh,
Yeah.
now I've got like 5
Oh,
more
hello,
side quests.
traveler.
Yeah, yeah. The quest log becomes useless because it's suddenly just attack it's like its own novel to get through.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a.
It's like, what are your
just a
active
grocery
quests?
list. Except
What's lo-
each food in that grocery list has you go to different ends of a map, and you're doing completely different things.
Yeah, it gives you the ingredients list of each food, and basically on that list.
Well, I got two things left here. One, actually, to Momo, we talked about it before here about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla are all these 3 big games that are big and massive, and I hate it. And Odyssey, by the end of it, I was just tired. I was like, I never want to touch this again. Like, it's just, I didn't even do everything. I did everything that had an actual story in it, but the rest, I was like, this is actually a disrespect to the player's time. It is actually too much to the point where I honestly think
Ooh, drop on the
making it
mic.
that big is bad development. I don't think that's good. I think that is fine if this is the only game that person is playing for the entire year, maybe. But like otherwise, for the average game that might be playing, I don't know, 3 or 4 games a year or something, this is still too much. And you're just kind of doing stuff to the point where it feels like fetch quests, or you're just doing stuff just to upgrade things that feel like crap, because then you're still not even done upgrading them, like that stupid ship from Odyssey. I fucking hate that ship. But it was to the point where after Odyssey, I bought Valhalla and I still haven't played it because I've had zero interest to play it, where I'm like, oh fuck, I already know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be stuck here and I'm just gonna get tired again. But I do miss just like linear stealth game. I'm gonna be completely honest. Which actually, this Assassin's Creed Rift game that they're talking about, let me find it real fast. So there's not really much known. It's just apparently set in the Middle East and features a smaller scope with a focus on stealth gameplay. And I'm like, oh, so like an Assassin's Creed game that we haven't.
You mean like Assassin's Creed 1?
Like Assassin's Creed, but like the last 3 games haven't been at all. Yes. So I'm really kind of rooting for this little game because it could be everything I could want. And if it's in the Middle East, that's even a bonus for me. So I'm like, ching, let's go with this. I'm pumped for it. But
No,
I'll still
definitely.
play
That sounds like
Valhalla.
yeah, that sounds fun. I'm
Yeah.
I'm 100% for that. Because yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard these days. I feel like in the market for video games where you have to try and make it for the masses, and it's like it's very specific. Reminds me of Elden Ring, where like you're playing it because you played like Bloodborne. There's a reason why it is for a specific target market and everything. So
Bloodborne.
triggered. So yeah, I appreciate
love
that.
Bloodborne.
So I appreciate that, where it's like, yes, there are games for the masses, but like Breath of the Wild or something. But even then, it's like yeah, like have a game that you know your audience and just be badass and really develop that to the fullest.
Definitely.
Like, if I might chime in, Elden Ring knew that it was going to bring in Dark Souls players, but it also knew that it wanted like all the Bloodborne players who haven't gotten Bloodborne 2 or anything. It was like, hey guys, so we got stuff in here for you too. And like just gameplay wise, they made it so like you can play the game and it feels a lot like Bloodborne, and I like that. So they knew that they were gonna get like more than just Souls players to play Elden Ring. They were smart.
Yeah, no, it's probably the biggest game until the cat game came, and now you play as
Stray.
cat,
Oh, I
and
know.
no one cares about Elden Ring anymore.
I know. I'm playing the alpha test of Sandrock, which is the unofficial sequel to Life in Portia. But as soon as I finish with that one, it's like a crafting harvest moon game. I cannot wait to play Stray. Like, I heard so many good. It's a nice little 6-hour, 4-hour play.
It looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
They
I
have
didn't
mods
know
now for Garfield.
Oh,
I know. I love
shut
the mods.
up!
Yes.
It is just a point and click game, but once you accept that, like, yeah, it's just point
Yeah.
and click, but it's still like a fun, it's a
Yeah.
nice little just mellow out game to
Yeah,
vibe to.
they
Very
got
much so.
the cat. They must. I wonder how many cats they like put the mocap suit on, because they got the
I
cat.
can't imagine
movements
how
down.
horrible that probably was.
Yeah,
The
I
cat's
know.
just like, fucking shit, I gotta get out of this.
Yeah,
What are these balls on me?
they just plays with the balls the whole time, like, and that's it. They can't get
I
any
don't
useful
understand.
data.
You took my balls away. Now
Yeah.
you're putting all these balls on me. I don't. Yeah.
I actually didn't know that Stray was actually it has robots in it. I didn't
Yes.
know that.
It's
I
like
didn't know-
post all
yeah.
humanity's gone. It's just
Okay.
robots.
It
left.
might be a more interesting Cyberpunk game than Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh.
Hopefully less bugs.
Yeah.
Hopefully with
Yeah.
less bugs too.
It looked pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie.
There's
The
also,
little
if
bit-
you're a GTA fan, there is also a mod where they somehow made CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas a cat. So
Weird.
it's
What?
just CJ shaped as a cat, but it's still CJ. It is.
Ah!
Don't look at the image, but you should really look at the image. It's pretty
Is that,
funny.
no, wait. Is that like where they put Macho Man Randy Savage over
Yep.
the
The
dragons?
Skyrim
and-
dragon,
Ah!
yes. It's like that, but
Oh
you
my
just instead of
gosh.
making him massive like that, just make the cat make CJ smaller, and he's like, I'm the CJ
Oh,
from San
God.
Andreas. I'm a cat.
Yeah,
here
I
for
saw a
it.
mod.
It's
I saw a
alright.
mod earlier where they replaced the cat with Spyro, and I was like, "Oh my god, that works so well."
Spyro,
actually,
yeah. Actually
good.
does.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Enough gaming, guys. Time for some anime. Oh boy.
Woo-hoo!
So, like I said, we got two shows here. One is Spy X Family, and the other is Komi Can't Communicate. And after kind of creating the agenda list, I had said maybe if there's enough time, we might do Ranking of Kings too. And I'm like, you know what? Never mind. We're not gonna do that. There's not gonna have time
Okay,
for that.
okay.
We're gonna focus on these two shows.
That's good. I should have told you this, but I haven't finished Ranking of Kings yet. So
Oh,
it's
perfect.
probably
Then
good.
that's
Yep,
yeah. We're
yep.
I
definitely-
never
Okay, so
got
it's probably
into
good.
it. I have to keep I watched the 2 episodes. I think I just need to read the manga.
Oh,
'cause,
dude. Okay. We started watching that. Oh, are we just gonna talk about? Just give
Leave
it a
it
offline.
more. Don't worry.
Give
I got
give
you,
it a
Chris.
couple more episodes. Give it a couple
Okay.
more episodes. Okay.
I didn't like
gets
it in the
really-
beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
It
Okay.
gets real good.
Okay,
We
good.
binged, I think, like 12 episodes or like 9
Yeah,
episodes
That one day.
in one
like,
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
were
when
making
Robin
fun
was
of
there
it.
too. That was really
Yeah,
funny.
we were making
to
fun
know.
of it at first, but then we were just like invested. We were in.
I kept playing.
Okay.
I kept pressing play after. I was like, "Fuck!" Keep hitting the next episode.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right,
good to
yeah.
know. Good to know.
But Spy X Family. Now this show kind of came out of the blue for me. I just like heard lightly about it, and I'm like,
Saw some
it
trailers.
sounds interesting. I think Chris, you were the one that told me about it first. You're like, "Oh yeah, it's a guy who's a spy. The mom's an assassin. The
Yeah.
kids."
Tell me, was this like right after you finished My Dress Up Darling, and we're like, Chris, tell me tell me the next thing I need to like watch.
I think so.
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
Okay.
yeah, because
I
I
remember we
wa-
spammed you with a bunch of like posters of like watch this or read this or yada yada.
Mm,
Yeah.
I think it was April.
was around-
It was April
Okay.
because I went to New York. I had already watched My Dress Up Darling in Japanese because I remember I was when I went to New York, I was sleeping at my sister's place, and I'm just on the couch like before I go to bed. I'm like watching My Dress Up Darling in English on my
Yeah.
phone, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. And then I'm like, what's Spy X Family? Or let me check this out, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Like, holy
dude.
shit. I didn't expect this show to be great because I guess like starting off here, like, why is this show good? And the whole like idea of it feeling like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, kind of.
Mm.
And it doesn't, when you told me about it, I don't know why, but it sounded so cliche, like it doesn't sound original at all. And I'm just like, yeah, it's like all these different specially powered people or people with like crazy
Yeah,
skills.
I think that's because I'm bad at explaining stuff. So
Well,
I'm
no,
gonna,
there's not much you could say. You're just like, yeah,
yeah.
mom's an assassin, dad's a spy, kid's a psychic, and the dog's like a
Yeah.
clairvoyant.
I
But
think
it's
for
like,
me,
Love Bond.
like I think for me, the reason why I like fell in love with the show so much is just I find it so funny that
Yeah.
the only person that knows everyone's secrets is the little kid.
yeah,
And like it's only because she's like a telepath, like she can read people's minds and stuff.
it's pretty good.
And it's just such a strange concept of like it's a spy who's just like literally trying to put together a fake family so he could keep a cover. And the like he didn't even like choose someone else from work to be his cover wife. Like he just happened to find an assassin. And she's like, I guess one of the world's best assassins or whatever. She's like well known.
Yeah,
And then like yeah, her brother is part of the secret police and
yeah.
she doesn't know about that either. And yeah, like apparently there's a dog eventually that's like clairvoyant. And it's so funny that like the only
Yeah.
person who knows everyone's secrets is Anya, and she's just like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just I
Waka
think
waka.
I just
Yeah.
I think it's the show is so successful with so many different audiences because it's a trifecta, right? You have there's action, there's explosions, people dying. You have, comedy, which is sometimes kind of hard to pull off depending on
literally
who
what the
you're-
song is called too.
Yeah, and then you have like wholesome slice of life. So I think this show is
Yeah.
so successful because it has, usually for an anime you're like, oh, like mundane slice of life, wholesome stuff. It's all in different buckets, but this one has everything. So I think it's a great show for different demographics that everyone have different takeaways and it's hysterical regardless. Like reading the manga,
Yeah.
I know Chris can attest to this, and watching the anime, like it's so spot on. Everything is to the T and
Yeah.
it really kind of translates very well. I know Kamran, and James, we talked about this earlier for Demon Slayer, where some of the translation from like the comic to the live action or the animation was a little different, or like the adaptation, where this is one for one with Anya's expressions and the explosions, and
They knew.
it's
They
perfect.
knew which
yeah.
Slide
panels to
face where
take.
she's just
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh my gosh, her expression, seeing that in
They-
animation form
yeah.
is just it hits the nail on the head,
It's
and
amazing.
I'm so happy this is so
So-
popular.
I think like so my Dress Up Darling was like a perfect 1-to-1. I think Spy Family is like one of the rare instances where the animation studio actually like cranks it up a notch in a lot of places. Like they make it better than 1-to-1. I'm not saying it's like better than the manga, but they knew where to make use of the medium. Because like the episode where Frankie's like, "Hey Anya, you should ask for like a reward for getting accepted into the school," and she's like, "I want to go to a castle." Okay, so like in the
Such a
manga,
good-
That's right.
that bit is only like it's like less than 10 pages. They just go to the castle, all the agents come and they just hang out in like the dining hall, and like that whole scene just takes place there. But in the show, they make that into like half the episode, and it's like a whole thing. Like they put on a really elaborate fake scenario. They
That
give
was so
something
cute.
for yeah. They give something for all of the agents to actually do. It's like, okay, you're all henchmen now. Like go. Like
There's a subplot too with that too, with like, oh, this is our one time to get Twilight. It's like, oh, shucks, foiled again by Twilight. It's like, yeah, there's so many crazy subplots.
Twilight,
And also
They're
just
meeting their
the-
hero. They're fighting their hero.
I also
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that
yeah.
Lloyd / Agent Twilight is so well known in his agency as being like the best of the best that no matter how absurd of a request he makes, they're just like, well,
Oh.
it's Agent Twilight though. He has to
It's
have
training.
a great reason.
Yeah.
for this."
Yeah, what, it has to be useful. Like, oh man, like I'll be real though. Lloyd should really have figured out that maybe not Anya being a telepath, but he really should have figured out that you was an assassin by now.
No,
God,
she's
I
just
lost
really
my
good at
shit
self-defense
so
and
hard.
yoga.
But
That's it.
I loved when like I don't remember why, but Anya was like trying to stop some guy from getting away, and she's like holding on to him. He's like, "Mom, I'm getting kidnapped," and Yor like runs and just like kicks him into the ceiling, and he's just
Wow.
like hanging there.
Yeah, the aquarium thing, I think. Yeah, it's like that whole
Yeah,
thing, or like
that
the
was in the
pool
last
thing.
episode.
Yeah.
Where Anya, like, you know, plays into like her being a kid, like, I'm gonna do pool stuff, I'm gonna give up, and like does that to save the kid drowning. Like, it's all
Yeah.
these things
Yeah.
that, you know, she does have her shining moments, which I appreciate, but then I feel like we can also relate to her, just all of her expressions, all her one-mindedness, like, and her like, yep, I've
Yeah.
been there, and she's a child, but yep.
She's basically like she's basically the audience. She embodies the audience. I feel
Yeah.
like in a lot of
Because she's
100%.
literally most of the time like, "This is so cool. This is so interesting."
yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
what the audience wishes the audience could be, just because
Yeah.
like the amount of charisma that this child has, and like the fact that, you know, watching all these animes and all the slice of lives I've been recommended and everything else, you know, I watch them, I'm like, yeah, it's really nice. But also you can see all the perversion in it like very much rapidly and all that's happening. Whereas this show doesn't really, I guess it has small tendencies of that, but not really. Like if you're really paying attention, you don't even notice like stuff with your, even though other people have, and I'm like, I get it. You like your, that's very nice. But I'm just like, Anya's so adorable. Like there's this little kid who has these little one-liners.
She must be protected.
Yes,
And
you
you're-
must protect
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
you don't, it's not often where you hear words from a little kid that you're like, I want to say these words now. Just being like, waka waka, like you're just like, you don't say these things normally. You're just like, oh my god, exciting, and fucking like,
Yeah.
I mean, her ideas too, that like we think, like, honestly, I probably would have thought that, and I'm like an adult with her, like, oh, you know, like Damien has a dog. If I get a dog, we'll be friends. Like,
Yeah.
I would have thought of that. And it's
the
like,
Anya
yeah,
impersonation of her,
Yeah.
of Damien and like her dad and shit was so good.
It's so good.
It's
I'm gonna be
amazing.
real. Like Anya's my favorite like little kid character that I've seen in
easily.
like I think of all time, but she like that's such a hard thing to I feel to have like a likable small child character because most of the time they're annoying because like I feel like people write them badly or overwrite them
Yeah.
or
The only
something.
one I
You-
can think of is like The Promised Neverland, but that's just because that was like literally all kids.
True. One good example that Chris, I'm glad you brought this up, was Taylor and I actually had to stop watching. I think it's Ascendance of a Bookworm, because yeah, like long story short, a woman gets reincarnated into like a 7-year-old, whatever, 4-year-old, I think 7 something, and essentially, you know, she's like trying to make books out in this medieval time, you know, and it's interesting where like same thing about her character development, where like the writers are very interesting, where they wrote her this character as a child where, you know, she has these cool like inventions, you know, that's like, oh, just from her time period, she's bringing like the book press and like stuff like that, but she still acts like a child. It's like, did you forget that you were an adult? So it's just different things where like she became so unlikable as like a character, as an audience member, where I'm like, I just can't, like, you're either an adult or you're a child, like pick one.
Yeah.
Where with Anya, I think she's so likable because again, like Carmine, you're totally right, where as an audience member, like we love to be that fly on the wall, and like we are Anya when it comes to reacting to everything in the moment. And yeah, just like it's so wholesome, the fact that like her reactions are so spot on of what we would do and we would say. So I feel like we can definitely like see ourselves in her, and yeah, I appreciate her just written as a character overall.
Yeah.
Definitely not annoying. Like,
I think a great example is when Yor is trying to teach her how to throw like the ultimate dodgeball, and she's just like levels a bunch of trees, and Anya's face is just like, how'd you do that?
and then she tried and it just didn't work out. See, it's stuff like that where it's like, yep, that would
yeah.
totally happen in real life. That would totally happen, 100%.
I love that dodgeball episode for that like little kid who looks like an adult until you put him next to an actual adult, and he's like, oh, he is tiny. He's just massive compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
That was still just
He's like starting to cry. He's like, I don't understand. She keeps dodging all my dodgeballs. How? It's literally because she just like can hear his thoughts.
And the way she dodges everything too is actually hilariously cartoonish.
Dude, the one where
like,
she dodged without moving, and like the professor's like, so elegant.
and the kid behind her just gets hit.
The assistant headmaster is also, I really like that guy. The mustachioed elegant
like
man.
elegant no matter what guy.
Yeah, like
that guy's great.
Yeah, I
he's
think
got like one joke, but it's a really good joke.
Oh, 100%. And I do appreciate talking about these sub characters where there's so many different subplots of
Mm,
yeah.
like these different sub characters. Like I think of, because there are stuff in the manga where like day in the life of the headmaster or like the assistant one, and then you have like Frankie and like his whole thing is trying to get a girlfriend, and it's just really interesting to see these different
Yeah.
subplots of like. And I'm curious if they're going to translate into just like filler episodes, but I think that's really important to still show like again these different different character arcs within like the other characters. And I don't know, I just find that just the world building and just adding that extra layer of depth, I feel like is just, to me, it just adds another layer of just wholesomeness. And just I appreciate this anime where it's not just it's so two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Even like what was the name of the kid that she's trying to be friends with? Damien?
Damien,
Yeah.
And
Damien.
like at first he just comes off as like super cold, but like also it's hilarious that he's just like really into Anya because she's the only person
Yeah.
that's ever like been like stood up to him at all.
She's
And she straight
real
up
with
punches
him.
him in the face.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't see anything.
You have proof.
But we get like a bit of an episode where it's like he needs to be one of the royal scholars or whatever because he just wants his dad to pay attention to him. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's so sad. Like no wonder he tries to act like he's the coolest and the best
Yeah.
kid in the world because he has to be.
Yeah. And also later, it's not, I don't know if it'll even happen next season, but even Becky gets like a little bit of a story bit that's super good, like in the manga at least. And like they thought about like everybody pretty much. I haven't seen anything more about the handler, but I think that's fine. But yeah, Anya's relationship like,
Agent
with Becky.
Scruffy.
Yeah. Yeah. That one's also a good one.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I do like that this show, there's not enough time in each episode, it feels like, to
Yeah.
tackle everything, where it's like, oh, we can only focus on these characters this time. Anya's at school, you won't see what's happening.
Yeah.
So this is just
Mhm.
Lloyd and Yorn stuff. But the fact that it has you just salivating for the next episode,
Yeah.
where you're just like, I want to know what happens next with all these characters. Like each character they do show, it's not one of the main three, you don't feel annoyed for potential
Yeah.
filler. You're just like, oh, I love this, I want more, I want more, I want more.
Yeah.
I think my biggest
So-
complaint with this season was just that like we got literally 2 seconds of the dog. And I was like, oh, cool. We're going to get to see the dog the next episode. And it's like, nope, he doesn't come
Yeah.
back.
It's just funny, like it's not even the last episode they teased the dog. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it was so weird.
I don't know. I think it's really odd that the last episode of the season, episode 12, was like a really like chill, like laid back episode with low stakes. Like they just went to the aquarium for a day out because Lloyd's tired. Hijinks ensue. But what's even
Just
weirder is that
exhausted.
yeah. So that whole episode was actually that's one of the bonus chapters from the end of one of the manga. Like it's not even
Oh, interesting.
yeah, that's what I found really extra weird. So it's super filler. Like
that's
but I think they picked a good one because I think it really shows like the family dynamic, and I think like they knew they needed to end the season on wholesome before like crazier stuff happens.
Yeah,
that sounds like
that makes sense.
the
Just
end
to
of
spread it out.
Yeah. I think they did that already too with Mob Psycho, the end of season 2, where you have that massive battle, and then afterwards they
Yeah.
just go on like a retreat to like some spa and do like a ghost
remember
thing
that.
there.
The new
and-
trainee guy with the umbrella.
which actually is very similar because Reagan gets trapped there and is like in total torture time.
my
where
God,
it's
that
like
was
very
so
similar
funny.
to Lloyd, actually, now that I think about it.
You've been leaving the whole time.
Oh, he kept leaving and coming back.
Yeah, but I'm excited for the new characters that we get introduced,
Yeah.
like Bond, and then like yeah, there's just adding more depth. Like they eventually introduce like another agent, and like
Yeah.
kind of like
Mm.
what works
My
with
favorite character.
that kind of interacts with Lloyd. Yeah, every so often, like sometimes they'll get matched on like different missions together, and you get like character depth and like that like for that person and everything. So I do appreciate just adding more layers, and like the fact that I'm not gonna have spoilers, but later in the manga, which I probably would be season 3 or 4 maybe, would be explaining Lloyd's background of how he became a spy in the first place.
I've
So to
definitely they've
me,
shown
that's really-
flashes of like he has some sort of tragic past, or he
I'm
literally
sad
just like
child,
tears
yeah.
streaming down his eyes. And I'm just like, I
Yeah.
want to know what that's about. So
Yeah.
we got a bit of yours backstory. Oh my God, like that was such a funny compilation where she's coming home to her brother covered in someone else's blood. It's like, don't worry, it's not my blood. Like, Oh,
Just like,
okay.
and at that point, what Yor is like, what? Like, she looks like she's 12 or 16 or something,
Maybe
and she's not even
16,
an
yeah.
adult yet. And you're like, oh, she's been at this for a while. Like, she started off as a child assassin. And now she's this,
I
like,
forgot. Did it ever
full-grown.
get explained of how she specifically got recruited? I can't
No,
remember.
they
Okay.
haven't done that
Just
yet
that
either.
like her parents were gone,
Yeah.
and so she had to take care of like her little brother, and she
Yeah.
was just like, I'll do whatever it takes.
They all
Okay.
think she might have been selling her body, where instead she was just killing
Yeah.
people.
Yep.
Oh god, yeah,
Like with needles.
yeah, I can't believe this show. It's just so there's so many different things. Like at one point you are thinking about all these different side characters and you're curious about the headmaster, you're curious about the actual mission that Lloyd has that Anya is basically having to execute for him. You're wanting to know
Yeah.
when they're gonna find out about each other, which is probably actually bigger
Oh my
than the
God.
mission to me.
I know, right?
And you're like, when will it happen? And I obviously I haven't read the manga, but I just easily assume something's going to happen where it's not going to be Lloyd and Yor. It's going to be like Twilight and Thorn Princess are somehow going to interact at some point on a mission
Oh,
that
that'd be
they're
so
going to
interesting.
intersect. That's what
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my prediction. Obviously, y'all
Dude,
can't say anything.
I was
but I'm
laughing
just
so
like,
hard in
know
like
it.
one of the first episodes when Lloyd was like being pursued by enemy agents, and you're just like, he's like, they are my patients and they're having a psychotic break, so
Yeah.
I'm knocking them out to get them better. He's like,
I'm using
"Oh,
concussive
okay."
therapy.
She's like, yeah, sure.
And he's like, I can't believe she got it. Or I can't believe she believed that. Like, is she just incredibly dense or trustful? I don't know.
Then she totally just like roundhouse kicks a dude, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't do this without a license." He's like, "No, that was awesome."
Yeah, she's like, I don't know the proper procedure for this
I
kind of
know.
thing with your patient.
I hope that was okay. And he's just like, "No, dude, that was hype. Good job." Like,
Like, oh, yeah, no, he'll be fine.
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No, yeah, the comedy around Yor and just the fact that she's only good at one thing and it's
Yeah.
killing
Dude,
people.
every time Anya's like, Mama's bad at cooking, she's like, oh no, you could tell.
She's
Yeah.
like,
It's so cute, and I do appreciate too where like it really gets to her like sometimes. I think she's kind of voiced it in a different anime, like being really self-conscious, like, oh, I'm not a good housewife, I need to like be the good, perfect family, da da da. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that's kind of running theme throughout like the whole series, is that her really just coming to terms with it, or trying to like just battle her own inner demons, even though she's in a superficial relationship. She
Yeah.
still wholesomely wants to be a good mother, wants to be a good partner, and just really help like Lloyd and herself with this new fake life, which I do appreciate.
oh yeah,
and
you
I like
her-
that there's like a bit where to kind of go off or to kind of go on about that. It's like Lloyd, even though it's a fake family, he's like, because he's like the best, right? And he's like, in order to be the best dad, I gotta like not, I have to act like this is a real family. Because if I act like it's a fake family, then I'm not the best dad or the best husband. And so he also like just puts 110 in, because even though it's an act, like that's how you be the best, and it ends up kind of feeling and being genuine, So
and you also get
I
that
like that.
constant reminder where something nice will happen and he'll be like, that was good, and then he goes, but also remember, this isn't your real family, don't get attached, all that kind of stuff. But
he's attached.
Yor's like commitment is shown twice with Anya. Like the first time when those dudes are like, "Oh, we're gonna steal you and like basically ransom you, but also we're gonna take your outfit." And I'm like, "The fuck?" But like, she just beats them up with fucking groceries, and
Yo, and then she
so
crushes a
good.
melon and is like, "Do you want this to be your head?" It's so
Yeah.
good.
It's
So
amazing.
good.
And then like you said before, when Nani's like, I'm being kidnapped, and she jumped on the guy
so
and she
funny.
just hits him into
The
the
guy's just
ceiling.
like, what the hell's with this like kid? What the hell?
Both
Yeah.
times though, like the first time she's like, I'm her mother, and the second time she's like, what are you doing
Yeah.
with like my daughter and all this stuff? And it's like
Yeah.
so just
I
heartfelt.
gotta
Even
say,
though they're basically
like,
violently attacked, it's
I know,
heartfelt.
right?
They're just
Yeah.
like, oh, mom.
I gotta say, I have like not like a weird thing, but I have like I have a very wholesome like place in my heart for like strong mom characters in like media, because like okay, yeah, hear me out. Like in Aliens and Terminator 2,
Of course.
Sarah Connor and Ripley are both like awesome, badass, strong like mom characters. Like a whole thing behind their like drive motivation is the fact that they're like a mom basically. Like in Aliens, Ripley like lost her daughter, but then finds like a daughter in an alien infested like colony, and
We're also gonna find one.
yeah, suddenly a mom again. But and like there's the best line comes at the end when the alien's about to kill this little girl, and Ripley comes out with the mech suit and is like, "Get away from her, you bitch!" And it's just like, oh
Yeah.
damn. It's like it's really good. And then like on a more G-rated note, like in Ponyo, there's this part where the mom is like trying to drive her kids away to safety, and like through a flood. It's like a magic flood, so
Yeah.
yeah, but like but like the
saw
mom's
that
just trying to
literally.
get home, right? And in any other scenario, it's like in this tsunami infested like place, like people would just give up or something. But the whole time in Ponyo, this mom has the kids in her car, is literally facing like the water wrath of a god, and is just like, nope, I'm driving through it. I gotta get my kids home. And it's like it's really cool. So the fact that like they're playing that up in a really good, well executed way in like Spy Family, that also like I don't know. I like seeing that. It makes me like I don't know. I like that in a character. I think it's a really good like motivator. It really like humanizes a character, and it's I don't know. And
Well, it defies the cliche, right?
Yeah.
Of like,
yeah.
of like, oh, the mom's dead, or like, we'll die soon, wink, wink,
Yeah.
in the anime. So yeah, it defies the cliche.
That too.
Very much so. To
Yeah.
the point where, though, I guess like she's very motherly, but also deadly to even her own child, because each time it's just like, oh, I get to hold her hand. It's like I hope I don't crush her hand. You know,
Yeah.
like what was it?
Yeah.
Yuri,
Like that time I
Oh,
broke
man.
two of my
ribs.
brother's ribs by
Yeah.
hugging him.
And
she's
Anya's
just like,
face is
"Oh."
like, oh.
I'm actually excited to get more like for you guys to see more about the brother.
I'm excited too,
Yeah.
but I'm just like I feel like Anya's horror expressions happen the most around Yor, because what
Absolutely.
she hears
like
happens in
half
her
the time she
mind.
also like says like gong.
Yeah, go. Yeah, it's so good. The
Uh.
fucking shock. But dude, the moment where like, oh, I want a dog, and yours like, oh, it's a big responsibility, and she imagines like, oh god, if it's a big dog, it's just eating Anya, and Anya
Yeah.
sees that in her head, and it's like, and then it's like, what about a little dog? And somehow the fucking dog has a knife, and it goes to
Yeah.
Anya's throat. And it's like, how
So funny.
did this even get into your head?
Yeah.
So
I
fucking.
think one of my favorite other scenes is like during the interview process to get into the school, and like there's that one like dickhead
Yeah.
like headmaster who's just like basically trying to make Anya cry, and he succeeds, and like both Yor and Twilight are like, we're gonna fucking kill this guy.
Yeah.
Like Yor was like about to, and the Twilight in his head is like, stay calm, be in control.
He's
Meanwhile,
already
he's like
moving.
fist moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like
Okay. In
Just like
in
the look
all
on
of
his
those,
face.
Mosquito is very dangerous.
It's so good. It's so good. In all of like the YouTube like audience members like react compilations for Spy Family, like that was the one that I got the most recommends on. Like that's the one where most people reacted to. You know, like oh, yours about to go off on this guy. You know,
Yep.
like it was one of those. Like that was like a really. I think that scene, like really resonated with a lot of people. I think because it was the moment, right? It's the moment where like, oh, this is where we have to protect Anya. Like
Mhm.
this is it. So yeah.
You feel it too. Like it's to the
Yeah.
point where the audience
like-
is just so invested. The audience is incredibly invested, and it's only what like 4 or 5 episodes in at that point.
And I love how even like Mr. Elegant headmaster,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like as soon as the like everyone else leaves the room, he just like decks him because he's just like,
Yeah, it's so good. Like because
he
you're kind of on
deserved
the
it.
you're
Yeah.
kind of on the fence about I like that nickname by the way, Mr. Elegant.
Yeah.
I think at that point you're made to feel on the fence about him because he was like he's like the most you know is that he likes elegance, he's real strict, and he might be a little too crazy, but then like that's the moment where you're like, no, he's a cool guy. Like
Yeah.
He knows
He's
what's
just
up.
trying to get the best of the best in the school. You see all of the
Yep.
traps he's laid to the
Mhm.
point where it's like, oh yes, the animals. Wait,
oh, but
did we actually have the
yeah.
animals? No, sir. Somehow the
Yeah.
animals are broken.
Yeah.
out.
Oh, I forgot Yor like straight up kicked that one like bull in the face or something.
oh
the
no,
pressure
she
point.
hits it and the pressure points all over its body.
Right, that's what
To
it
the
was.
point where like Lloyd and Anya are like, oh fuck, and the other animals literally back up cartoonishly.
Yeah.
It's like the funniest shit where they're like, don't touch us.
And then
But
Anya
each
has
time
that
they
like
would
awesome
change
moment where she
their
like
Yeah.
calms it down. And
Yeah.
Elegant Man is just like, oh my god.
yeah, he
My-
literally
but-
is like
Yeah.
the fucking
Yeah, my favorite character arc was the dodgeball thing, right? Where like
Yeah,
Damien
yeah.
stepped up, sacrificed himself, and then he's like, "Oh, such elegance," but then they get back to bickering, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Never
maybe
mind."
not. Yeah, I forget
Uh,
what I said. The whole thing where they do the
Oh.
imaginary like we're climbing the mountain and they're just on the fucking jungle gym and they fall off and like
Yeah, the
Yeah.
training sequence, like the quote
Yeah.
unquote training sequence.
the fucking tire swing and shit. Oh my god, that was so
cute.
funny. And he's
But
like,
that's what kids. That's what kids do, right? Like that's so
Lord
cute.
Damien, I sacrificed myself for you. Just
that
Yeah.
was so funny.
stupid. I love it. Oh god. But yeah, each character just has their own pizzazz where
Yeah.
Anya, of course, is the star to the point where she is Starlight Anya, and we all know she is Starlight Anya at this point. She's upgraded. But like Lloyd has his own set of stuff because it's so funny. All of his stuff is either commenting on Anya, and she's just like her own shock of just like, damn, or like before when she always tries to help Lloyd. Each time she fucks it up, and she's like, "I helped with the thing," and he's like, "No, you didn't. All you did was
Yeah,
like
you made it
fall over
worse.
and shit." And she's like,
I appreciate that. I appreciate him being candid of like, no, you fucked up. Like, oh hey, like you like spilled a bucket
Yeah.
of water. Like, nah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Where he's like, nah.
Yeah, he doesn't coddle, and it's not like based out of like and it's kind of like his own awkwardness of being like a weirdo spy man. That
he
he's
just
so
states
candid.
things as they are.
Yeah,
But also,
yeah.
it's helped to the point where, like, when she goes to the test and she's like, "Oh, I'll copy off everyone else in their head," and they're like, "I don't know what the fuck I'm doing," and then she finally like
Yeah.
flashes back to the things that like Lloyd actually taught her, which allows her to
Yeah.
get through it all. So
Yeah, because she copied off the wrong person.
Yeah.
That is hysterical.
Yeah,
it was so good. Oh my
and
god.
and then she like I forget if this is what is in the. I think it's in the show, but it's the part where she's like having her own inner monologue, right? And she's just like, whatever. Next time, I'll just copy off the right person. I'm gonna figure out which
Yeah.
kids know which
Yep.
subjects.
Yeah,
And
just
she's like, I sound kind of
break it
like
all off.
Papa right now. Like,
Yeah. God, it's so
I
Everything
love her
about that
favorite
show's
show is
great.
like a spy show.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bondeman.
The Bondman. Oh, I love that. Oh my
A
goodness.
pistol with
Yeah.
a silencer, and then that dude actually shoots that guy. Oh fuck, a pistol with a silencer! Like, God,
yeah.
shows. I think it's one of those things where, like, not talking about Ranking of Kings, but real fast, like, it took me a few episodes to get into it because I literally wasn't sure if I liked it or
Yeah.
not. And I think it took 3 or 4. This one, first episode, instantly, like, I was
Yeah.
sold.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if I was going to be, but once they started talking, I'm like, this is fantastic. I can't
think as soon
believe
as I
this
got
is
to,
that
like,
good.
Anya as a telepath, I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's actually really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then the
And-
fact that she's just like really just not dumb, but like she's not as smart as she let on.
She's a
which
kid.
is
She's a
She
Yeah.
literally was like just
Yeah, she's a
reading this
kid.
guy's mind and was like, what answers does he want? And so she like fills out a whole crossword to like prove that she's smart. And she's just like reading the answers out of him.
Yeah.
So fucking
So
good.
cute, because she didn't go back to the orphanage.
Yeah,
like,
she's
it's
been
so
Yeah.
in an
sweet.
orphanage 4 times or something, and it was like incredibly sad to hear that. I was
Dude,
like,
even
"Fuck."
the like headmaster of the orphanage or whatever you want to call him was just like, yeah, I
Jake.
don't know, she's weird. You could take her if you want.
Yeah,
Like,
please take. He's like, I don't
Jesus.
want to deal with this kid anymore. Apparently, yeah, no, it was,
Yeah,
it was a lot.
It's I imagine that like okay, so she's a telepath, right? Like we haven't seen any of her past families, but we kind of with the orphanage guy, we kind of get a hint as to the reason. He was like he's weirded out by her, right? So I imagine
Yeah.
the whole telepathy thing, like the reason she was sent back is probably because she like started being like too on the nose, and like the family got freaked out, like all her her adoptive foster families got like freaked out or something. I think it's interesting that like because Lloyd and Yor are both like they're also weirdos. Like the
Yeah.
fact that they aren't bothered by anything Anya does. I think it's like the perfect match. Because like she's done like plenty of things that should be like red flags to a normal
Like literally
person.
exactly what Starlight is like
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Or Twilight. What
He's like,
Twilight
that's
is thinking.
too on the
Yeah.
point when
And
she
he's like-
says something.
Yeah, he's just like, wow, she got that like exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, look, Yor just caught a souffle dish with her foot. Oh well, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah, the most he gets out of it is a wow. Like that's the whole thing in that fucking aquarium where like when she catches her, she's like, wow. And then like as you see
Yeah.
Lloyd in the background going, he looks over and he's like, wow. It's so fucking good.
I also love that Lloyd impersonated like someone, like an employee who's it was like their
The
first
penguin!
day.
The aquarium guy,
Oh,
Yeah, it was like it was that employee's first day, and he made such a good impression.
Is he? Oh yeah, I memorized like every penguin's
names.
face and stuff.
He's like,
I
you're
remembered
promoted. There's
every
nothing
penguin's
else I
face,
can teach
all of their
you.
names. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how he's like, oh, it's actually really easy. They all look different. Like,
Yeah. The guy's like,
oh,
yeah, like the
Oh!
dude's like
Oh!
can't believe it, and he's like, "You're above me now." And the field
Yeah.
worker there is like pining over him. She's like, "Oh," but it's that whole it was great.
You
And
know,
then poor
Twilight-
Charles,
There's
that
nothing I can
penguin.
teach you. There's nothing
Yeah.
I can teach you.
That
Twilight
penguin though, poor penguin was
actually-
choking the whole time. He's like,
Yeah.
ah, ah.
Twilight actually inadvertently ruined that kid's life
yeah.
Yeah.
by leaving too strong of an
Or
impression.
got a promotion. Hey, get that
No,
He has
no,
to-
but that
he
guy's
has
not
to
gonna be
fake
able
it
to
now.
do it.
The whole the next day at work, it's be like, what about this
Yeah.
penguin?
No one can be as good as Twilight at that job or any job.
I mean,
Like,
he
he
actually
literally
legitimately
has,
won
like-
that penguin contest immediately after too. To get
Yeah.
that
That's
whole
true.
stuffed animal.
We don't even see that. It's just like, yeah, I won it.
Well, she reads his mind, and it's like, oh, he guessed it. He didn't take him that long. He guessed it in one
Right.
try,
Mm.
but because he already knew about all the penguins, he already
Yeah.
researched them, so it's so easy
Yeah.
for him. Oh,
And, like, I
God.
love how he has literally perfect recall and he can speed read things like hella fast. So, and that was how he kind of mentally background checked Yor when he first met her. He was just
Yeah.
like scanning through the list of all the single women in the city that he had
Yeah,
like
yeah.
memorized. He's just like, well, she doesn't have any like prior convictions or anything. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She's like a brother. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
She seems fine.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's an assassin, like a
Yeah.
world-class assassin.
And
Yeah.
he does check in on her later, like him and Frankie disguise themselves and like corner her in
Yeah.
an alley, which
Oh
was hilarious
yeah.
because the whole time Frankie
Oh,
like
yeah.
is like, "Hey," and he's like, "What kind of character is Frankie trying to be right now? Like, what's he doing right now?" I don't get-
Or he's totally doing like the high school delinquent, but he's supposed to be like a Secret Service cop.
Yeah, God, that was so fucking funny.
It was really good though.
My
Really
face. I needed that face to ask women out.
good.
Uh,
Yeah.
And I love talking about Frankie. I love how because Frankie uses Bond the dog later to like try to ask people out, and it's hysterical.
funny.
Oh, I'm
like
so
just like
excited for that.
yeah, the side shenanigans ensue, and it's just hysterical.
Oh, Frankie.
Yeah.
Scruffy
You know,
scruff.
Sweet
So, like,
Frankie.
God. But
yeah.
go for
There's
it.
a lot
Chris.
of stuff about Spy Family that I feel like we've all like seen before, but it's like all about like the execution of all of these tropes that's so on point, which is why it's so good. It's like what the first thing you said was just like the premise, right? It's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but they have a telepath kid. But it's like it's so much more than
It
that
is.
now that we've seen it, because like I think like because all these like basic ideas, you know, like all the individual like scenarios and arcs and stuff, like we're all pretty familiar with those from other shows, but this does such a good like Spy Family does such a good job like executing all of these concepts like perfectly, and then slightly changing them to like you know, to not be cliche. That it's like it's good. It's so good. Like I don't know.
You're left like emotionally satisfied after like each moment. You're not just kind of like, oh, that was whatever. You're just like each time you're happy, or you're
Yes,
actually
yeah.
Yeah, it's
emotionally
like bam, bam,
charged.
bam. Like you feel like things have, even if it's like filler or something, like you feel things have happened, right? You
Yeah.
either learn more about the characters, you know, like a progression of the whole arc as a whole, or there's action stuff. Yeah, there's definitely like it keeps going and going and going. There's no lull.
And there's
se.
no show I think that really has such a sharing dynamic of wholesome action and comedy simultaneously, to the point where like, I mean, there's that one scene where it is at the castle and they're like, oh, you have to fight the witch now, and it's Yor, and it's like,
Oh,
why does
yeah.
a witch need to fight like this? I thought she
Why
was
is
a
it
witch.
you? Why is a witch using physical
And she
attacks?
is about to beat the shit out of him, but then she just like she slips on her foot and just fucking falls asleep.
Oh yeah, because she
And
was
it's
like drunk at
her
the time,
high-
and she like forgot to like go easy.
Her high heel breaks, and she fucking just
And
falls
she's like,
over.
yeah, just like knocks out. And it's not even like, it's such a just the animation when you see it occur, it's like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous how that occurs, but you have that action of like all of a sudden that fight happens, and then the funniness of just immediately after that occurs, and like Frankie's like, you have to face me now, and he puts on some stupid fucking claw, and Lloyd just punches him out.
Yep.
And it's more comedy followed by him and Anya, and then all of a sudden the wholesomeness enters in, and that's like in the span of 30 seconds that all
Yeah.
those different emotions track nonstop, but
Yeah.
it feels so naturally done.
Yeah.
And-
Unlike I'm gonna bring up an oldie but a goodie. Like unlike Star Wars Episode 1, where all the different tonal shifts happen rapidly, but they leave you feeling nothing. Yeah, but they leave you feeling nothing. Because it's like you get like comedy with Jar Jar, but then like lightsaber fight between like these like long time enemies and shit, and then like it leaves you feeling like very confused about how to feel for some reason. But this is like Kamran was saying, this is like a very like course meal, like kind of lined up for you to enjoy, and it doesn't leave you feeling like awkward. It's just like, yeah, that feels right.
there's a perfect balance of all the ingredients, and there's no stomach ache or feeling that you need more afterwards, really.
Yeah.
I will say too, like the whole thing with like the animation, it's so nice, and I don't know if it's like the best animation I've seen, but it's enough where I felt completely satisfied. Because at this point now spreading out more and more into more anime, I honestly don't know anymore what I'm like, what is the best animation I've seen at this point? Because each one kind of does a different thing. Where like Demon Slayer has like really cool sword animations that go on. And the animation itself is really good, but maybe it's not the best for characters. Where I guess like when it does come to characters, I feel like Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn somehow did like the best there for that kind of thing. I know, Chris, I know. And like each thing has a specific strength, but Spy X Family is definitely, I think, just character facial features too, because it's also a thing too where I know anime is very famous for doing like the funny anime face where a lot of the characters will turn into a completely different creature, like Full Metal Alchemist. Ed, when he's making fun of like Colonel Mustang, he turns into like a weird demon thing, and he's like, "Oh, Colonel!" And it just looks so fucking different. Whereas they somehow managed to realistically do it with all the characters in Spy X Family. Even Anya, to the point where her facial expressions are still like ridiculous, but they're still like matching without her character having to morph or change.
Like yours sad face whenever she's like, your cooking is bad.
Yeah.
Anya's got a really good. It's like the derpy face she makes.
Yeah,
when,
they're like face like that is so funny.
Yeah, after she punches like Damien, I think she's saying something like he walked into my fist or something.
Yeah.
She got a really good.
Well, like I love the other kids are like, you punched him, and she's like, you got any proof?
Yeah, that was so fucking good.
So good.
Well, again, it's passable as audience members because like, oh, she's a kid. Like, of course, like her facial expressions or like what she says is gonna be unfiltered because kids those ages are gonna be unfiltered. So it just adds to the nuance, and it's hysterical.
Yeah.
It works so well.
I think it's the second scene we get with Yor where she's on the phone, and it ends up being her handler or whatever, the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper's like, I have a job for you, and her face changes to like the intense one, but
it
it's
almost
still,
looks like she activated like a sleeper cell.
Yes.
She's like a different person when she's like the Queen of Thorns or whatever.
Yeah. That was like, because it's like, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like a comedic moment, but it's definitely like it's a goofy enough face where you're like, whoa, what? And the show's like it's like doing a good job of like letting you know, like, yeah, that's right, bro. Something's up with this girl.
I also love that her brother has like the same exact look on his face.
Yeah.
They both can't hold their liquor, and and they're both like oblivious in different ways,
Yeah.
right?
Yuri is
Like,
Yeah.
ridiculously weaker.
And
Like he is
they're both-
ridiculously weaker though.
Yeah. And they're
Where
both kind
she
of
punches him.
psychopaths.
Yeah, didn't she punch him in like into the wall?
Yes.
So
No,
the
she
animation
slapped
is,
him. She slapped him.
That's what it
animation is
was.
insane.
slap
When
him because she went to
does-
slap Lloyd and she ended up slapping him.
Right. Oh, I forgot
when
about
she
that.
does it, his body, it's not even like a full, it's not like I hit you and you went away. She hits him and her hand is still stuck to his face, and his body kind of does like when you bring out a towel,
Yeah.
it does like a spin and then he goes flying.
She did a wicked follow through.
Yeah.
He spun around more than a 360, more than a 1080. I don't know my multiples of like 180 well enough to know beyond that, but I know that that's like yeah.
It's like
He
you
went
kiss
great.
you right now. So
Prove to me that you're married.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that they played up and acknowledged the weirdness of Yuri's like
Very weird.
SysCon, like kind of thing he has going on.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they were just like, yeah, okay, like he's weird about her because he's super weird about her, and yeah, it's weird. I think a coworker is just like, hey, like, are you still being weird with your sister? Like,
Yeah,
probably like
his
not.
Oh
do that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, you should probably stop doing
uh,
that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that
Also, do you need to go to a hospital because you're bleeding right now?
Yuri
from
is
your
weird
sister.
enough
Yeah.
that an assassin and a spy think he's weird. Like that's how weird he is. He's like the
Yeah.
ultimate weirdo in that show.
Oh, how sometimes when he thinks of his sister, his like the ribs that she broke years ago still hurt.
And he's like, the pain, it fills me with a happiness I can never forget.
Yeah.
So fucking weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
But Lloyd won
he's
him
a
over at
weirdo.
least for now.
He is a super
Yeah.
weirdo.
Super weirdo. God.
I love even like Lloyd has like a transition to a serious face when he gets his like mission like
Oh yeah.
instructions and stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
they definitely
yeah.
they show it in the intro where Anya it first shows them and they're in normal clothing, and then it does like a whole like slash of the face where it turns into the serious face, and they like both jump out and stuff.
Yeah.
So it does a good job of representing kind of how they transition that quickly, and they do such a good job. And I think too, with just Yuri real fast, I really do love though how he's so into this that he doesn't realize how much he's bleeding, to the point where Lloyd's like he's like shouting at Lloyd, and Lloyd's just like, hey, you're like bleeding a lot right now, like it's like a lot, like it's actually sprang out of your head.
Yeah.
It's like when Lenny took the coin out of his head in The
Uh.
Simpsons and the blood just sprays out. You're just like, dude, you really need to go to a doctor.
No, this wound was caused by my sister. I'd have to keep it like this.
God.
That's kind of probably what he would say.
Yeah. But yeah, that amazing show. I think we pretty much said everything of
Yeah.
why we loved it, because we went like
It's
10
one
out
of
of
the few
10.
shows. It's one of the few shows where I actually watch the intro and outro pretty much every time.
Every single
Yes,
time.
it's jamming. It reminds me of Lupin the Third, like feels. Like I love it.
That's why I wanted to finish off with that, was the intro and outro. I think the first one is called Nut. It's something with nuts in it. And then the second
Peanuts, huh?
I have to look it
Yeah.
up.
I
have
love
it
Anya's thing.
pretty-
He's like, well,
it's
I
a
love
second.
peanuts and I don't like carrots.
Yeah.
Mixed
Oh,
Nuts. Mixed
oh,
Nuts
it's-
is the intro song, and the outro song is comedy. But the intro really has that cowboy bebop beginning.
Yeah.
The colors, the
Yeah.
explosion, and then it just kicks off into something completely different, because it gets into like that full
Yeah.
funny, like the fun little animation of like, oh, it's the perfect family doing perfect family things.
Yeah.
And then
No.
it hits off. Yeah.
That's interesting because like I think Cowboy Bebop had a little bit of inspiration from Lupin as well.
Yeah,
Like
they
with
did.
the main character and stuff. Okay,
Ooh.
that is
They
okay.
did.
Yeah, yeah. And the fact that the intro has a little bit of both of those shows in it is like, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty
Really
Yeah,
cool.
need to watch
Lupin
Lupin.
definitely like was one of the old anime series that sparked like
Yeah.
spy hype spy with like jazz, like hype jazz stuff, right? Because even like the
Yeah.
video game like Persona 5 series outwardly said Lupin the Third was inspiration for their music soundtrack.
Oh, I
It's
can
all-
absolutely see that.
Mm.
That
That's
game
hype.
is like
That's so cool.
that game is like all the music is jazz, pretty much.
It's like
Yeah.
spy, like do
Yeah, and then,
mission
like,
stuff.
And the main theme is like you are phantom thieves, just like literally stealing people's hearts.
Love
Yeah,
it.
So good.
Dude,
I love that game.
that that soundtrack still gets me just as hype whenever I listen to it. Whenever I feel like I have to like go do something, like I put that on and I'm like, okay, now I can go do it.
Oh yeah, it's in our wedding, so like the jazz
Oh,
like
excellent.
cocktail
Nice.
hour. But
Fuck yeah,
You should
dude.
put
Yeah.
mixed nuts in your wedding.
yeah, but yeah, honestly, you never know.
should
Cocktail
really.
hour.
I put the wrong song on now. I want to change my
Oops.
answer. Can I edit?
Oh, 100%, totally down. Again, they're good soundtracks,
Yeah.
like for Spy
Okay,
Family. It's really
I'm
good.
not gonna lie. This might be a little bit of like a hot take, but
Mhm.
I kind of wish like the Cowboy Bebop part to that song was like its own song, and then when it like switches over to like the vocals, I kind of wish that was its own song too.
Oh,
And it
because
kind
they're
of
complete. They are completely 180 different.
because I
yeah.
want like more of the Cowboy Bebopness, and like the other parts like just fine as is because it's most of the intro. Like I kind of wish I kind of like
Mm.
look, when I eat food, I also kind of like to have all of my like items in like their own little compartments. So maybe like this is totally just me. Like, so I'm not saying the song is bad. I just kind of wish like I had like a dissected version of the song where I had an extended like Cowboy Bebop part to that song, and like the other part, yeah, just like that could be its own song too. That's it.
Okay.
You're like, I'm done. And out.
That's my Spy Family hot take. Is like the intro is not as perfect as I want it to be. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, for me though, it's honestly such
Yeah,
a.
lots of people really love it. So.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't listened to. I mean, I have before. I remember when Demon Slayer they teased the Aimer intro to the Entertainment District. It was like not even the full song. It was like a 1-minute portion of it, and I had it on loop. Somehow someone put like a big old loop on Spotify, and I was like, yes, just what I was looking for. And
Yeah.
I just kept playing that when I was running, and I'm just like, it is so fucking hype. But
Oh wait.
yeah.
All right. Is there a way I could post a link to you? Because
yeah, there's a chat option in Zoom. You
okay.
can click on chat.
Okay, because I found I found this remix. It's an electro swing remix of
course it would
three
be.
different. I know, right? Of 3 different songs. It's the Spy X Family theme combined with the Mission Impossible and James Bond themes, and it is pretty lit. I'm just saying. So I'll send it to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely listen to it later and probably add it to our another wedding playlist. So
Oh my
done.
Don't worry about YouTube good dance moves. That's
yeah. Spy Family, top tier, always top tier.
I will say the mixed nuts for me. It is something that in the show itself. I haven't watched a show where I consistently smile throughout the entire thing, which I really needed, especially after Attack on Titans last.
That's just so depressing, but
season.
cool.
God, yeah, and I'm like watching all these other shows to the point where Spy X Family. I think I was watching Spy X Family, Komi, and one other show. I don't remember what the show was. It was a live action show.
It was.
But it was supposed to be that the live action show was the one I cared about the most. So I'd put that last. I started watching it first because I just wanted to save Spy X Family for last. I'm like, this is now the most important show of the week for me. I only really care about this show because I'm smiling like nonstop.
It became one of those shows that I was like looking forward to every episode popping up on Crunchyroll every week.
Yeah, it was just too important to me. And so like I said, I was telling you guys, like I watched this when I was in New York, or like the first 3 episodes, and I fell in love with the song to the point where I'm like literally just walking around Manhattan with this song blaring and looping my head.
I think you mentioned that,
and I'm like smiling, just like, oh yes, I'm in the city that smells, but it's this music's so great, and I'm like incredibly happy right now. And this song will actually emotionally make me just like feel good, and it's just got such a good effect there. And the other song, Comedy, which also has great animations in it, like showing all the little different characters. Anya does her fucking the crazy Anya face when Damien shows up for a second there in the thing, but it's so low beat, like it's just very tranquil to the point where like, all right, mixed nuts is like my date. That's how you start your day. Comedy really is how you end your day, where I'm like, I could legitimately fall asleep to this song. It's so just
it's a weirdly like catchy but relaxing beat.
Yeah, it's very just nice and smooth. And I found a 1 hour mix of it on YouTube, and I'm like playing that. I put
Oh,
the phone across
yeah.
the room, and I'm like going to
I
bed.
found
I'm
it
like,
on Apple
"Oh,
Music and put it on
yes."
repeat.
Nice,
It's
nice.
it's so good. It is amazing how good these two intro outros are. And I think like besides Demon Slayer, I don't think any other show for me has really hit that level of consistency like that. Like Mob Psycho has two great intros, but the outros never really get me. But the Spy X Family is one of the few that really hits beginning and end, which, like I said, not all shows can do. Some don't do either. Some do just one, but this one does both.
Yep.
So very good.
Well, and what you guys mentioned earlier too, where like Chris, what you mentioned too is it relates back to Cowboy Bebop and the other intros, right? Like of how like not only the audio but the visuals as well. So I really appreciate that homage they have to previous anime series before them, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
I think like okay, so I think maybe this could be a segue. I think Komi Can't Communicate's second season outro is way more memorable than the first one because
Yes.
I don't remember the first season's outro song.
I don't remember anything
Fair.
from the
I
first.
I'd
just
agree.
know
I
it's
watched
very
those back to
calming.
back.
Yeah, I just know it's very like a calming thing.
I
Yeah.
at first wasn't like a huge fan of the first seasons of Komi Can't Communicate's first intro song. I think that's just because like it had like a very tenor male's like vocals, but it totally grew on me. Totally did. Absolutely. Like was super catchy. And the second season's one, I don't know. I've been listening to them, and I don't know which one's my favorite or which one I like more than the other. Because I like both of them, and I think they both like kind of like hit a little different. Like, I think the first one captures the spirit of the show like pretty good, and the second season's intro is like because it's like through her perspective for a lot of it. It's kind of like I don't know, like because if you're watching the second season, you've probably seen the first, so it plays up kind of like the fact that you know what you're getting into, and it's just like, oh, I'm seeing what Komi sees, like nice, and I don't know, I think it has that going for it, and then musically, like I'm not sure which one I like more, but
Okay. I guess for me, like I will say the first season's intro outro are kind of forgettable. Like I honestly don't even remember them anymore. I watched these two seasons back to back.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was a giant span of time or anything. But I will say like the intro to season 2 was enjoyable, and it was like that whole video camera style that they were trying to do. But the outro, I think, was the one that I actually was like, oh, I'd listen to this outside of the show, whereas the intro I might not.
That's fair.
And I did actually really enjoy the animation of the season 2 outro a lot because it's just like them at the two different class periods. And it's got like the season 1 ones.
It's also
the
like an
season 2
interesting, weirdly pixelated look to it.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually rotoscoped it, but I know I saw a little bit of the behind the scenes on like somebody on an animator's Twitter, and I know that they used like some digital rendering to like map out all of the classmates' positions in the classroom for it. But I didn't see any rotoscope work, like if they actually like filmed real footage beforehand and traced over it. But anyway, interesting stuff. Yeah, very very cool outro because I think the season 1 outro is like I think it's just still shots of artwork. Like
oh, that's probably why it's
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because the season 2 at least you have like Imai
Hiding in the
running
closet?
back into the fucking closet in the corner, and you're just like, God damn it, Imai, and then like Katai is just like working up, even in there is working up.
I don't know why,
to say
like
goodbye to Tadano.
I wasn't super into Yamai in the first season. I thought it was like weird how like creepy she was, but
yeah.
She's like she's somehow worse in the second season, but
it's great.
Better.
Yes.
Well, she's like no like actual interaction, if that makes sense. At least in the first season, it's like she has interaction with them, but no, now she's like total creeper status.
I thought about this, right? I thought about this a long time because the site that I used to read Komi, or I used to read Komi, I bought them all legit now because I want to support the creators. But there was comments on the pages, and like almost unanimously, everybody hates Yamai, right? And I'm just like, okay, like I get that, but like, why though? And I think here's why. I think it's because when we're introduced to Yamai, she starts off at like a 20 on a 10 scale because she kidnaps Tadano and ties him up.
Yeah,
it's like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's gonna like, I'm gonna bury you in the mountains. Then
You're
'cause
you're
that's
in
what
my closet right
Yeah.
now.
She's like, I
Yeah.
need to get rid of the body.
Yeah,
She
I
also
think
does
she
the thing where
starts off.
she
Yeah.
she grabs his shoulder in the beginning and she goes to talk to him and she's like, "Listen, you scumbag piece of shit." And they're just
Dude,
like,
I
don't
love
even
she does
say
that to the
Komi's name.
narcissist in
Yeah,
season
yeah,
2, and she's just like, you think you can compete with Komi? You're no one.
You're
You're nothing."
garbage. You're garbage. Yeah.
But like, so somehow she was like twice as bad in the second season, but I thought she was funnier because she was
Yeah.
more extreme.
twice as
Like-
bad, but
Like
more
the
wholesome with
like
it.
the whole like leg thing where her tights
Yeah,
and stuff.
Like the Valentine's Day
Yeah.
thing. She's like, I made you chocolates that look like my face. Eat my face. It's like,
No,
okay.
the very best thing was the fucking, oh no, your tights ripped, let me help you buy new ones. Gives her the new ones, she turns around, the tights are on her fucking
Yeah.
face, and she runs out.
I think maybe the fact that it's more tolerable per se because at least now Komi knows how weird she fucking
Yeah.
is. Where like
Yeah.
she shouldn't hide it so much in the first season.
Yeah.
And she's
At
not
least
jealous of Tadano
attempt.
as much anymore.
I think that's the
too.
thing, is like,
Yeah.
at least in season 2, she's like straight up, she's outright like, no, I'm in love with you.
Yeah.
Like, she's not just like creeping from the background and
Yeah.
stuff as much.
I
Yeah.
think like we as an audience are more familiar with her, and like the writers knew kind of more what to do with her a little bit more, and we're like leading harder into that in more of a jokey way. But like I straight up think her introduction was too strong. Like
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
she
'Cause-
starts
'cause it
off
was,
as
like,
like the
episode
mean
4,
girl, and then
yeah, I think it
turns
was,
out
like,
she's just a
episode-
perv.
yeah, totally. And I think it was like only episode 4 that we're introduced to her. So like as an audience, we're still like not necessarily figuring out the vibe of the show, but we're still being introduced to like the cast and kind of like how everybody reacts to different people. And then we get this one like out of left field that's crazy. And like I think she's just like way too strong as an intro. But then we're just used to it over time.
Yeah,
Sorta like
you
the-
yeah,
sorta
it's
like the
I think
characters.
that's the worst. But you get used to. You're like, no, you get used to it. It's fine.
Oh,
She spent,
that's
like-
just your mind.
She had a whole like side story during the school field trip where she's just like, oh, sweet, bath time. I might get to touch her boobs.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she legitimately goes just so wholesomely like, hey Komi, I just really enjoy it. You're just so beautiful, everything about you. Would it be fine if I just groped your breasts? And Komi's like,
Yeah.
She's
no.
No.
But the
Don't
narrator
touch me.
cuts in and it's like a genuine request, but her eyes are as clear as an alpine air. Like
I know.
She like is as innocent as a baby's eyes. 'Cause
yeah.
she's like, no. It's not a
Yeah.
sexy thing. I just want to touch your boobs.
It's
But
like,
Komi
well, I
still
mean, with
says
the amount, it's like
no.
a whole thing.
Yeah.
This is
That-
the same girl that like hits the mud
Yeah.
and it's like, I need a picture under the
Yeah.
sky.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like Komi Can't Communicate was like a series that I wasn't sure if I was gonna like when I was like going into it. Because like I saw it on bookshelves. I saw it like recommended to me, like in the Amazon bookstore, right? And I'm like, oh, like what are these? Where like the main girl's just so special for some reason, and like main character's probably just gonna like get with her, and she's gonna like the main character for some. But then like when I actually read it, I was like, oh, wait, the show's. I mean, this book series is actually good, and then like the show is pretty much 1-to-1, so it's like just as good. It was very pleasantly surprising.
Yeah,
to
it's
find
an
out about
interesting
this.
setup that she's like so unbelievably beautiful that everyone assumes that she's like perfect at everything. But she's also got like literally crippling social anxiety to the
Yeah.
point where she physically cannot talk to most people. And it's just like so interesting that because of that, everyone expects so much of her.
Yeah.
So every time she has to say something, she ends up not being able to say anything, or maybe she gets like one syllable out, and somehow
Yeah.
people just intuit what
Oh
they
my God.
wanted out of her, and they're like, "Oh my god, she is perfect."
Yeah.
It's so weird and funny.
I
Yeah.
appreciate too where like you kind of have background on her family. We're like, okay, this is like hereditary. Like get to know. And I
Yeah,
love
like
her
her dad's
mom.
just like her. That's so funny.
And I love her mom is like so outgoing.
Her
and
brother is like just as handsome as her, and like also as silent.
silent,
but he's
and
broody. He's very
yeah, I
broody.
love how broody.
Yeah.
I guess overall I appreciate the pacing of this series because
Yeah.
because there's another series that I've watched that I have to like pronounce it correctly. It's called Arihen-san wa Hakarinai. Yeah. So it's basically that series, like high school thing. This girl is really quiet and like no one can like actually literally hear her talk. And so a guy, protagonist, hangs out with her, the friends, and it's like they're kind of shenanigans, you know, like fun stuff. But like I feel like compared to, you know, like wholesome high school anime stuff, anime tropes, I like Komi Can't Communicate just because I feel like it's more actual progressive when it comes to, oh, she's actually making friends, like doing school trips. Like there's actually progression with the relationship with her and the protagonist, where like this other anime, it's great and I'll still love it, but I feel like it's just, it's more just episodic where you can't really tell the difference of time passing, where for Komi you can. And I just really appreciate that of like, okay, we're actually going somewhere. You know, there's actually like a timeline with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in Aharon-san is incomprehensible is probably the closest thing to an English translation for that. I love that show, but you're super right. It's like you can totally watch most of the episodes out of sync except for the first and last episodes.
Yeah.
Like other than that, like but Komi like she ends up being able to speak like a little bit more here and there. Like the friend she makes in a previous episode will show up in later episodes. Like it absolutely totally builds on like what has been established.
And you see kind of the group come together a lot more as well.
Yeah.
I know, it's so sweet.
Nice.
One of my favorite characters is a misunderstanding with, I think his name is like
Tadai or
my favorite.
He's one of my favorites from season 2.
Wait,
just because he's like
Takai the bodybuilder.
Takai, yeah.
Takai, yeah.
Takai is my favorite character.
Oh, it's Katai.
Katai.
Yeah.
We all
oh my God.
No.
It's
cool.
A
It's
little
cool.
more cool. It's like no, it's actually
it's
actually this.
I love when they're going over his backstory. He's like, oh yeah, I missed the entire first semester because like I was sick the first week and then I was too nervous to like go for the rest of the season. And then I like got jacked because I started working out.
And he has a love interest. Oh my gosh. And Komi thinks, but Komi thinks that like him and like the protagonist are like together, but they're not.
I love she gets like
it.
jealous of him and Tadano, and like I love that he basically has the exact same communication issues as Komi.
It's so good.
It's
so
great because Komi is like, oh, who's Komi? She's like, oh, she's the most beautiful. Like she's just like supposed to be the hottest girl in school, blah blah. And you look at Katai, it's like, oh, this is like literally the male version. It's just like the biggest, like the dude.
Like I love when they're like sitting face to
face,
and they're both just like shaking because they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But like somehow, I literally forgot his name, Katai. He is just like, oh my God, Komi is a master of communication. She's teaching me like what I should do. She's my sensei. He's like,
he literally starts calling her master.
Love it.
Like Komu, the god of communication.
He looks up into the sky. He looks up into the sky and sees the image of Komi like giving a thumbs up. That shit's so good.
That's so
you love it too because it's not. There's nothing of just like I want to go out with. It's just straight up. I'm just trying to learn from her.
He's just like, I just want to have a friend.
And then him and Tadano is just like the best friendship where it always feels weird because he's like you and me, and it's like, what is it? Oh, you want to go out? Like,
it's like he wants to invite him to lunch, and he's just like, hey, Tadano, let's go for a walk.
He's like, I did it.
And again, the progression thing, right? Where like, you know, they're making friends. Everyone's like, again, being in, like, hang out in groups, or like Tadano.
They go to the school trip and they're just like flexing together.
Or
my God! Oh my God!
Perfect. Like that happened, and even Komi got like some girlfriends trying to cheer her on with her crush. Like it's just so cute. Like yay!
Just
like,
real fast.
Had, like,
what was the narcissist name?
Naruse.
Yeah, it was like close to narcissist.
So one thing. This show is. I love Spy X Family. I love the comedy in Spy X Family. This is the funniest anime I've ever seen in my entire. I've never laughed.
I love how he exchanges numbers with
much.
Tadano, and he's just like, "I'm gonna send you a selfie every day."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah."
Like here's
like,
his own like personal
fuck?
narrator too, where he's like, "No, this is not what's happening. No, it's
like
in
that,
your head, man."
Yeah, that one random guy who's just like, "Yeah, this is how he's like."
But those two interacting.
Komitan?
Okay. But like them interacting, being like, "Hey, let's flex," but you don't realize
he's like, "Hey, you got a great body. Let's show it off."
Yeah, it's like,
and
hey,
like
I want to
before
show
you can
something.
see like what's happening.
Oh my God!
I'm like, are they Megan?
Yeah, he's like, oh, like this, yeah. Oh no, push harder like that. Oh, you mean like
Okay, so
you're
that's
just
so
like,
funny.
that bit is another thing that is enhanced. The joke is enhanced by animation because, like, you get like the manga, like you get the frames of it, and it's still funny. Like the joke still translates just fine. But in animation, because they're moving too,
Like, yeah,
and
they're
they-
breathing
and-
like, huh, huh.
yeah,
like,
and you can hear the voice acting. It's so much funny.
like heavy breathing,
funny.
and you're like, what is happening right now? And then they finally zoom out, and you're just like, oh my god,
Oh,
I just can't
oh, they're
believe
just
they've
taking
done this.
Instagram pics. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the three
Delinquents are like,
guys,
hey, can we join in?
and
Yeah.
Tano's just taking pictures. Komi just looks in and is like, what the f-
Well,
Cause,
I
like,
love there's no like there's judgment, but it's just more question. Like I think I loved how her reaction was just confused because like usually girls would be like, "Oh, you're such a pervert," da da da. But for her, it was just confusion of like,
Okay,
oh,
it
She
okay.
even
showed-
asked him later.
It showed a galaxy backdrop behind her, and it was just like,
Yeah.
whoa, like it was as if her mind was
well, it's the whole thing
expanding.
of the buildup of it, of the different times that Katai interacts with Tadano, and each time Komi's like, "What the fuck is with these two?" And she,
Like when they're ice
because
skating?
she, it's almost like for her, Katai is like competition because
Yeah.
she
Oh,
likes
Oh my
Tadano.
god! Oh
And
my
it's
god!
like, yo, this dude's trying to fuck Tadano, and like
Oh.
you go in and they're just taking
Which
pictures.
is good because it gets her on her like get fired in her
does.
butt. Like,
And
come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
your
yeah.
boy's being stolen, girl. Like,
And it
Yeah.
helps too with what's the girl's name that's really nice? She's like the ultimate wingman. The one with the
Oh,
siblings.
yeah, the big sister
oh,
type.
the sister,
Yeah,
the sister
the one with
type,
like
yeah.
the bunch of siblings. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
that like takes her. But like she's also like,
taught her how to make
don't
chocolates.
worry, Tadano, I'm not like
Yeah.
Tadano won't go for me. He's gonna go for you. Like you got him. I'm gonna make sure you get him and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
she's,
I like how
watching out for her.
everyone is like, oh, it's really obvious that
Right?
that Komi likes Tadano.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much so. To
Like
the
even
point
when they're on
where-
the school trip and like
Yeah, the two friends.
the two friends are like, oh, do you have anyone you like? And it's like, we know it's Tadano, but
Yeah,
we want
it'd be
her
weird
to
if
say
it was anyone
Yeah.
else. Like, yeah.
Which I appreciate because in anime, it takes like seasons, right? To like in that kind of anime too, to like, oh, I actually like this person. Or it's like, no, like she realizes it, especially, I don't know if you caught it, Chris,
Okay.
at the end of the series, you see the
Yeah.
love rival. You see a glimpse.
Yeah,
of the love rival.
Manbaki-san? Yeah, you do.
Yes.
Wait,
Okay.
what?
Oh, okay. Listen.
Wait, is it the is
If you
it
re-
when they're going to the new classes?
Yeah,
that it happens.
they
It's like a
They're showing
wide shot.
hints of new
So-
characters.
So they actually show like the cast for the next season. For the new
Just
class
brief
they're going into.
glimpses. Yeah.
Yes, they show everybody actually.
Okay.
Which I was pretty impressed by. They only show the back of the head of the love rival character, but you see her.
These love rivals.
Did they
man.
ever talk about the girl with like the one like
the armor?
armor arm? Like,
Okay. No,
Chris
they did
loves
not.
that character. Chris loves that character.
because I'm so interested. I'm like,
I
Yeah,
know.
she's
okay.
there. She's
All
part of a
right, all right.
club.
She
Don't worry
just,
about
I
it.
love when Yamai
Conrad.
says something and she just fucking, bah, and then knocks her the fuck out.
Conrad.
With the armor.
You wanted to know who my favorite Komi can't communicate
Yes,
character
that was a
is.
question
That's
to me.
huge.
It is the Night Girl. Her name
Like,
is it is Kishi Himiko, which literally means just Night Girl, basically.
nice.
Oh my
are
God.
you serious? That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so she has 0 spoken lines in the manga up until like the 300th chapter.
For real?
She speaks after the love arc concludes itself, basically. And
Damn.
you want to know what? They had a popularity contest, like, because this is like released in like Shonen Jump, like in a magazine, like weekly thing. So like they had a contest for 100 Komi can communicate characters, like top 100. Who's your
That's a-
favorite?
That's,
And like Komi actually got #1 spot.
Really?
Like straight up, just people love this character. Must protect. Like good job.
yeah, that's the cat
Well, yeah,
ears,
she gets cat
probably.
ears when
Yeah,
she's
she-
Oh, yeah.
decided.
Yeah,
Now-
low key.
now-
I love her like blank face. It's like just eyes.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
good.
she's like, oh, and like just freaks. Like it's not even
Yeah,
like
she
words.
loves cats.
It's like constantly
Now,
shaking. Oh god,
my
the cat
favorite-
cafe episode.
realized
Where, like,
Momo,
oh my God,
in the back
the
of your
boss
So
like
good.
put money on her.
The
orange
POV
cat
from
in
the
back.
cat, like I will grace you with my presence.
Oh my God.
Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty on point.
It's so
So-
good.
My favorite character Kishi-san, the character who literally says nothing, got 17th place out of 100.
Holy shit! It's the
Yeah,
she
dude.
just looks cool.
She just looks
Isn't she
cool!
taller than everyone else too? Isn't
Yeah,
she like
she
hella
is.
tall?
I do love
Yeah.
when the narcissist was like trying to walk up to Komi to talk to her, and like he keeps getting
Yeah.
like shoulder checked by
Yes!
people.
Oh
by
my god.
everyone, by everyone. I love that.
The
Uh,
night girl hits him in his shin with her sheathed
Yeah.
sword, and
Uh.
that would probably hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I just love because you know in the you see the progression from season 1 to season 2. In the very beginning of season 1, Tadano first talks to her, and everyone despises this. They're like, "Who the fuck are you?
They're like, how dare
You're not
you?
even you're not even important.
Yep,
Like, why
yep.
are you even
You're just like some basic dude.
yeah? It's
Yeah.
This
they're
is
all
the god of our
disgusted by it.
school.
And like piece by piece, they kind of like as he helps Komi make these new
Yeah.
friends and stuff, they kind of incorporate him into their group to the point where when the narcissist comes, even Yamai's kind of like only he can talk to her, not you. Like there's like a weird wall
Yeah.
where it's straight up like in that wall is just Tadano
Yeah.
and Komi, and they all are just
The
at
inner
that point
circle
very
of
much.
trust.
Yeah, they are all aware.
I'm gonna be real with you. This is like a very like tiny spoiler, but I'm just gonna say that only improves upon itself like later.
Oh, I'm excited.
Like that, like the concept you picked up on, which I will say is very astute of you. Like people just end up like audience and characters alike just end up liking Tadano more as time goes on, which I think is like actually pretty rare for a basic like a basic bitch main character. Like Tadano has like it's weird because that's his role, right? Just the main character.
Yeah.
But they end up like they somehow like Komi Can't Communicate like takes even that trope and is like we can do it better. Like
They do.
Well, I'm pretty sure he gets recognition, right? Where
Yeah.
like I feel like say her birthday / Christmas gift, he's the one who picked out the cat because he
Yeah,
knew
he
that
was.
she
Yeah.
would like the cat. You know, it's like stuff like that where hopefully people are realizing whether it's in written or not. We're like, yeah, he's
God.
reliable, basic white bitch where he's helping the god out. So like, yeah, like he's wholesome. He's a wholesome guy.
I love
Yeah,
Yamai.
yeah.
Yamai was just like, I couldn't figure out what the perfect gift was, so I want to give her myself.
I think I can climb into that cat.
Yeah,
Like,
no, like,
oh
if
my-
I could get into
Yeah.
a cat, I could legally give her myself.
Fucker.
Oh
yeah,
my
no,
god.
it's so fucking good.
But yeah,
It's
that's the thing is like they play up like Tadano's like averageness, but
like,
they turn it into wholesome.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that like people even was it Najimi? I can't remember his name.
Najimi,
Yeah, I appreciate even they at this
Yeah.
point. They stopped Tadano too. We're like, hey, Komi needs to like keep evolving. Like you have to like hey, you can't coddle her 24/7. Like like
They
so I
keep
really-
like
I
sending
really
her to
appreciate that.
Safeway to be like, go get me a sandwich. You need to talk to someone.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
really like again that evolution, right? Like that character development in each episode. Where like it's funny thing of like yeah, we're doing this last minute summer festival thing. Let's do this, but like it's still for Komi's sake. So I do
Yeah.
appreciate
Mhm.
that.
to the point even I do love we were talking about the trip, but the two girls she gets paired up with the trip.
Yeah.
One is like
Yeah.
Itai's new love interest where he's
Yeah!
just like, oh,
That was so good.
Dude,
The
oh my
shogi
God.
player.
But her and then
I
the
love
other
she's
one,
playing like a mental shogi match. With
Yes!
the yo-yo player.
So good.
but the other one is like, oh yo, she has like an alter ego where she's like, I put on this like the fucking samurai mask.
Yeah, she's like,
and I
it's
do ninja
like
Yeah.
I could save Komi with this,
The
but it's
yo-yos.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
So he puts
God.
on like an Oni mask and she just does a bunch of yo-yo tricks.
That's
Yeah.
so I'm so glad Komi got a girls moment. Like I'm so
Yeah.
glad
Mhm.
that she has her girls now. Like
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
And
That's
then she's
actually-
asleep,
so-
and they're like, I don't know, you should come over here, just sit right here.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Good wingman.
Oh,
Hey.
Yep.
I love the internal monologue of like the yo-yo girl who's like, you told me who
Mhm.
your crush was. You really thought I wouldn't like act on
And
that
like
information.
so there's
Yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
people like that.
Really
There's
good.
it's her where it's like her face changes too. She has like this
Yeah.
venomous smile where she's like, it's like rolled her with
You're
the-
scheming, aren't
we can
you?
call that the yandere phase.
Okay, but it's her, and then of course the thirst herself, where Yamai in the up front with everyone, she's like, oh hi everybody, blah blah, and when she's internal, she's like, oh yeah, Komi, and you're just like, oh my god,
I'm uncomfortable.
she's like the
yeah.
full Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personalities, where
Yeah.
I appreciate it because I assume it's the same voice actress, and she just completely changes her voice
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go
I think,
from
like-
like
Okay,
one
so
side to
actually,
the other.
I don't really like overall the English dub for Komi Can't Communicate. I think it's fine
Oh,
overall.
I have no idea what it's like.
but-
I have no
never
idea.
looked
I
fine.
just
into
see
it.
sub. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I think they actually dropped the ball on the big sister character. That's all I'll say.
Oh,
I think most of the cast is fine. Like, it's not the worst I've
How's
ever heard.
Komi?
She's fine. Like, she's good. No, she's good. Like,
Just okay.
it's hard to screw her role up, to
you
be
just-
honest.
like that's.
I
Now,
don't know.
here's
It's
the
like
thing.
the Japanese voice actress is like she gets the high pitched squeaks like so
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. It's
And
like she
also,
sounds just
that-
perpetually
The
nervous.
Japanese voice actress was also in like she's in a ton of like high profile like mainline animes and stuff. Like she's in
Interesting.
Kaguya.
Oh.
She's in Kaguya Love is War. She voices the main girl.
No shit. Really?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
All
But
these
like
shows you guys are talking about are in on my watch list because
Yeah, right.
Momo recommended like 3 of them to me.
so the English voice actress for Yamai though fucking kills it.
Really?
Okay.
Hands down. No, because she does that flip. Because she talks like, "Oh, hi everybody, like I'm like the popular girl," but then she'll go like, "I'm going to kill you." Like she does that to a T.
Hello, it's
She
still
does
me.
that awesome.
I think
She's the best voice actress
Okay.
of the English dub. Yeah.
At least
You
for the
know-
Japanese subtitled part, like the best example of that for Yamai for me is like when she like goes up to the narcissist dude, because like she literally is like whispering in his ear for like 30 seconds straight, like how
Mhm.
like don't even try to talk to Komi, like you're nothing, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then she walks over to Komi and she's like, "Hi, Komi."
Yeah.
It's just like just full
It's so
fucking
good.
180s there.
Damn.
I
It
also-
reminds. It really quickly
Oh,
reminds me. I don't know if you
yeah.
heard I think her character's Kushida from the classroom of the elite or elite classroom. It reminds me of like that character. Basically, it's like very two-faced. We're like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? And then like turns around, it's like, I'm gonna fuck you. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna mess you up. I'm gonna
Yeah.
mess you. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
To
Like
be
she's straight
fair,
out of Mean
like-
Girls. Like that movie is perfect for her.
Yeah,
Like she belongs there.
I mean,
Except
to be
maybe
fair,
she's
like
perverting
the-
on Lindsay Lohan, I guess.
yeah, I think a lot of Komi Can't Communicate is about like not necessarily like two-faced, but like showing two sides of the same coin, like showing that
Mhm.
everybody has like
Fair.
two sides to them. Because
Mhm.
like Katai like looks like a super buff delinquent, but he's actually like a really timid, socially awkward guy. Like Tadano's like super average, but actually he ends up helping everybody in an above average kind of way.
Yeah.
Like like I think, and like Agari, the foodie, is super awkward, but then she gets super like Gordon Ramsay whenever she talks about food, right?
Agar, is she the one that has the glasses?
She's dog girl.
The
Yeah.
dog girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
she-
yeah,
I just
God,
remember
God.
that.
I
Dog,
hate-
just dog girl.
I
She's
hate
dog
that
girl.
it's just it's dog girl, and I'm like, I know what that
Yeah.
means, and I hate that I know what that means.
Yeah.
Komi,
Like,
I'll give you a pet.
Yeah, like I think the whole thing, like I think that's honestly the closest
man.
thing to a thesis you can come to for Komi Can't Communicate. Is like everyone's got like more going on than they have on the surface or whatever.
Oh, very much so. And there's that girl that I hope nobody knows I'm from the countryside.
Yeah.
pumpkin.
Oh, I love
What
it.
are you talking about?
That's so wholesome, but like, okay, cool. You
Yeah.
do you, girl. I love
And
it.
it's like no one would really care. I
No.
think.
No one-
She's
no.
just so
No one
self-conscious
cares.
about it.
Her-
Yeah. it's
okay, so
funny.
like her
cute.
voice actress for English, it's like an unspoken rule, kind of, that like if the Japanese dialects, as native English speakers, we wouldn't like pick up on that necessarily. So like for English dubs, in order to like translate the idea of a dialect, generally what they do, like in Azumanga Daioh, there's a character who comes from Osaka, and if you're from Osaka, they have like a dialect or something. Generally, for like English voice dubs, they make it a Southern accent because that's what translates the best for native English speakers.
Interesting.
And that's what they
Fair.
did for Country Girl. They gave her
Fair.
like a
Ah.
Southern, yeah. They gave her a
Fair.
Southern accent, and I think it
Hope
works
nobody
pretty well.
knows I'm from the country.
Pretty
Honestly,
much.
yeah. But like it's out like it's like a pretty Southern Belle kind of a accent, but like it works pretty good. It works pretty good. Plus, there are those scenes where she does like a cutaway, and it's when like the country girl's like imagining like what city life is supposed to be like, and she's just like, that's right, I'd hold a coffee and say something like, these accounts aren't balancing quite correctly, or something like that. Like,
I
like
love
she, yeah.
I love talking about like the imagination and whatever. I love how the guys get together and talk about their perfect date.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Different-
god.
And like
Oh
hearing
my
it felt so
God.
weird hearing Komi talk for the first time. Again, this is sub, not dub, but like hearing her talk, like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah, totally.
they killed me. Those date night like
Yeah.
imagination stuff killed me. I loved them.
It's even better that one of them is straight up just the Naruto guy in Ninja Man.
Yeah, he's
And,
just
like,
a ninja.
Each one
Shinobu,
is like,
excuse you. His name is what? Like Shinobu or something.
Yeah,
Shinobu.
like
There's,
when
the
when
girl-
everyone's trying to keep the narcissist away from Komi, he just like, throws like a ninja star to
He's
see on the ceiling.
But
Oh my
there's
God.
the
Love
girl,
it.
I forget what her name is, but she hangs out with the big sister girl a lot. She always is like the
the
Tori.
airhead?
Spacey
Tori.
one?
yeah,
Yeah, the
airhead space. He
spacey
was
one.
falling asleep shit, but her the fantasy with her in it from one of the guys was the funniest shit, because it's just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, and I'm just like, dude, she's
Like,
about to fall
there,
asleep.
it's gonna be okay, honey. Like,
I love the
So
one
fucking
where it's like
hilarious.
they just wanted to play video games with like the gamer girl, and
Yeah.
then it's just like,
Yeah.
and Tadano's like, that actually sounds really nice. It's not that bad.
like, yeah.
Uh,
That's another, like, I think that it's really subtle, but I think it's really telling about, like, I don't know, the fact that like the first one, I think, like, because he was like he was just like like that's all
yeah,
they
he's
care
like,
about.
what's
He's like,
with these guys?
Yeah.
yeah, because the first one I think was about Agari, and
Yeah.
the whole fantasy was that like she's just well endowed.
Yeah, she's
And-
wearing like a low cut dress because
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just like, oh, these guys are into that. But then, like, yeah, by like the second or third like fantasy, Tadano's just like, yeah, I'm on board with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as you watch the guys kind of, I guess, develop and show their own like deep downness, it goes
Well,
from
I
like
love-
the basics to then more complicated of like, well, I just really want to spend time
Yep.
with her in this
And like one
fashion.
guy tries to think up a scenario with Komi and he like can't, and then Tadano
Has the feudal
does.
era. And, oh yeah, for Tadano is perfect.
And
I love how they had
Tadano's
to
is literally just like he just cooked dinner and then
Yeah.
they did the dishes together. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's really sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best one.
yeah, the fact they had to do like feudal era like Japan, like to
Oh
showcase
god, that was
her.
so funny. And she like
Oh my
throws
God.
like a pinwheel like
Yeah,
needle thing. Is like,
Yeah.
my husband will not die tonight. Leave while you still
I-
can.
I will be collecting your heads in a moment. Like,
Yeah.
So fucking weird.
okay, so real quick, did you guys watch the episode before we see the narcissist guy? The episode before that.
What was it about?
After, I don't remember, but after the credits, no, here, after the credits, right? Like, after the credits, they always show a next time on this show,
Mhm.
like, and they give a little preview.
Oh,
episode-
the narcissist one was so funny.
Yeah, the episode before the narcissist guy, it's just clips of him flipping his hair and overlaid
Yeah,
with
it's like
like a
he has
low,
finally come.
yeah, overlaid with low opacity. It just says the time has come, and
Yeah,
it's got like
it's
this
fucking-
funky music playing. And it's
That's so
just showing
funny.
him. It's the best next time like
That's
preview I've
hysterical.
ever seen.
It's funny because you do see him in like the intro for a second
Yeah.
where he does like the and you're just like, when the fuck am I gonna deal with this guy? Because you could already tell what you're gonna get into, and it's everything you expected
Yeah.
it to be.
Like literally they introduce him in that episode where he's just like looking at his reflection in the window and he's just like, how am I so handsome?
Yeah.
Even when everyone gives him shit, he's like, "Oh, they
Yeah.
really love me," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you?"
He's like, my fans, you don't have to look at me
So-
from far. I'm open for conversation. And
Yeah.
they're just like, no one
It's
wants
so
to.
ridiculous.
I think also the progression by the time you get there is so cool, because this whole time, you see Tadano helping Komi make all of her friends, and this is basically Komi's circle more or less. But
Yep.
at a certain point, Tadano gets his own little mini circle where it is him, Narcissist, and Katai, and
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah, that's
Narcissist, like
true.
extra dude, and they actually just go out on their own and do like dinner and shit
Yeah.
without
It's
Komi or
pretty-
anyone
it's
else.
pretty wholesome.
It's
man.
like guys' night, yeah. It's very
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
how they form that.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed like when Tadano teaches both Komi and Katai how to ice skate. And you're just
I
like,
know, I'm so
Yep.
cute. And she was
I
so
love it.
envious. She's like, they're holding hands. I want to hold hands.
I love his plan
Yeah.
of like he's gonna go off onto the ice and just be like, "Follow me," and he does the follow me thing, but he's like sliding because he's like already slipped and fallen.
so fucking good.
It's
Dude,
so cute.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
oh yeah,
Can
No,
we
one of
talk
you-
a
who- one of
second?
you was gonna say
Because the next part of that episode is the one where Tadano has a cold.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah.
that was probably
hand-holding.
the biggest. It's probably the
Saucy.
best.
Yeah.
That's like the most important episode. I feel like, honestly.
Saucy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty good.
He's just literally out cold, and she's just like, I can do whatever I want.
So
right
there's like a whole thing on like the internet, right? And and it's like the joke is how if you show characters holding hands, it's just as lewd as like a really intimate scene, and you can't show that. But that, I mean, when that happened though, when Komi touched Tadano's hand when he was passed out cold, the comment section on the site I was reading like went nuts. Like they were like, "Oh my god!" Like it was
I bet.
it was a pretty big moment.
Imagine
And
me, like, what? Like, I
Oh,
didn't
when he
see
came in?
anything.
oh my god,
I didn't see
everybody!
anything.
I love
Didn't
Komi
see
spent the
anything.
entire next episode going like, "I need to like make a letter to say that I didn't do anything wrong. Wait, but if I write that letter, then maybe they'll like Najima will think that I did do something wrong. Maybe if I just don't do anything, well, no, that's even more suspicious."
Yeah,
And then Tadano's sister comes in, and it's just like, smells like a woman was in here.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just like, oh my god,
Brilliant.
that was fantastic.
yeah. But like her writing the letter, so like I think that like I think that's a really good example of like how like okay, so Komi has like comedically enhanced social awkwardness, but I think a lot of her awkwardness is still relatable to like the audience. Like even though most of us can talk to most strangers and people, there are still like moments when we feel a little like apprehensive or like the thought comes across our mind where it's like I don't know if I can talk to this person
Yeah.
or
No, I've had
it's
plenty
like
of times where I'm just like
Yeah.
agonizing over like how do I perfectly word this like
Totally.
email or
yeah,
like
text or
or
something.
whatever.
absolutely.
Hella cover
yeah.
letter.
And I think that's why like this
Yeah.
show is so popular and also like so good because like even though like her specific examples are a little extreme, they're still really relatable like reactions to have for other things that everybody's experienced. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like-
even the text thing, right? Like I think that's exhibit
Yeah.
A where like Tadano's like, how do I confirm this? Da, da, da. And it's like, oh yeah, that happens like all the time. Like it's like, hey, are we a thing? No, okay, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, even after he like invited her to do like just to hang out at some point during winter
Yeah.
break, he was like, was she just being like
yeah.
polite?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't really want to hang out with me. Like, nah.
Oh my
Mhm.
god. And dude, he did it like a cool guy too. Like
He's like, what
And
up?
Oh
then he-
god,
and
speaking of
then
cool
he
guy
was worried-
Tadano.
Yeah. But
That
then he
whole
was
arc
worried
was just
about
like where they introduced the gamer girl who like thinks she's
Yeah,
super
because he used
cool.
to be one.
And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, Tadano,
Yeah.
like back in middle school, he thought he was like a cool guy.
Okay.
That's hysterical.
So I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a show. It's called Love, Chinibyo and Other Delusions.
No.
It's basically Naka Naka, the gamer girl.
Mm.
It's basically like picture her as the main character of another anime, and that's that show.
Nice.
Well, that's why I feel like I was going to bring it up at a certain point, but the
Yeah.
two things I feel like the show does a lot is, well, one, it always feels like there's 2 episodes in one. Like it's not
Yep.
even like a full
Yeah,
Wow.
each
30-minute
episode has like
Yeah,
episode.
2 or
it-
3 arcs.
It's kind of like the
Yeah.
older like SpongeBob episodes or older like cartoons where it was like you have 2 in one. It's like 2 different little stories and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing too of all these different all these friends that Komi's making feels like a representation of another anime. Like each one
Yeah.
represents a
Mm.
specific anime trope or series. Just like
Definitely tropes for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
like
like
we
fucking
mentioned,
that's what I was
there's
saying,
a
like
straight up
Naruto's right
ninja
there.
guy,
The ninja
Yeah.
guy.
and then Night
The
Girl.
ninja
Yeah, so they each have like some specific thing, even
Yeah.
though I guess Yuma is more covering every type of perversion possible.
It's
She's
the
the ecchi
yandere.
character.
It's the yandere. It's straight up like Okay. It's Helga Pataki from Hey Arnold. Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
That's
they're back.
actually
Oh my
very
God,
yeah,
yeah.
it's actually incredibly
no, like
accurate.
Helga Pataki is every American's first yandere. She has a fucking shrine made out of his bodily parts that she's collected in her
Wasn't it
closet.
wasn't it made out of gum?
It was,
Yeah.
but then
Horrifying,
she tried
actually.
kissing it. It got stuck to her face, and her mom threw it out when she wasn't looking and had to make a new one. Why do I know this? God damn it!
Well, when you said it, I remembered all of it. Like, it's not something I thought about, but I'm like,
Like, oh,
yeah, it's
yeah.
like in my memory banks forever, and
Yeah.
whether I like it or not.
She made one later that was made out, I think, of an actual football, but she designed it so that she could remove the head, and there was like a stick so she could hold the head easier. Because then when she dances around her room with it, it's easier to hold the stick.
Good to
And,
know.
like,
Oh my God. Okay.
Good
Yeah,
to know.
they really went like way over the top for that part, and it's like super weird. But anyway,
So,
yeah, that happened in Hey Arnold, guys.
I
just
digress.
to fully answer the question of who is your favorite, I know Chris and I have said ours. Like, mine's
Yeah,
Katai,
yeah.
Chris's is
I
Night
got
Girl.
I got a few favorites, I guess. Like Nijima really grew on me just for, I mean, kind of like from the get-go of like, what gender are you? I thought you were a male,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in middle school, and now you're in like a female outfit. It's like, oh, I'll never tell.
He's like, he literally is like, oh, I'm just, just having fun. And then some dude walks up to him and he's like, I'm a guy. And he's just like, what?
Yeah. And like that they're friends with like literally everyone, and they're just like
Yeah.
always super energetic, and just like certain little things they'll do, like when they were like, oh hey, let's all study together at like gamer girl's house to prepare for winter exams or whatever. And first off, Donna was
Sleeps.
like, you just want to play video games. And then, like,
Yeah.
before they even play video games, like
Falls asleep.
they go into like her room, and Nijima was like, well, thanks for having us over, and like immediately gets into bed and goes to sleep.
I appreciate how self-serving, like, because every character has to be one, like, or have that trope. And I appreciate it's still very self-serving, but at the end of the day, like, still helping Komi and like
Yeah.
getting them
It's
together.
the person that knows
I mean,
everyone.
like the
Yeah.
the
It's like an RA in
the
college.
maid cafe
Oh my God.
episode where they were
Too
just like,
many of those.
oh, I can make so much money off of this, like $5,000 to touch her or 5,000
right.
yen to touch her thigh or whatever.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Love it. Love it.
Doesn't his, because it was during the maid cafe time, right? Was
Yeah, I
that
think
when
he
that
had to
happened?
like return it or donate or
Yeah,
he
he
Yeah,
got
it's
he got shut down.
Or it's like
he got shut
yeah.
down.
their class would have won the festival trophy,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
revoked it because like one student was being like unscrupulous.
Yeah.
He-
And
And
Nijima's just like,
everybody just knew. Everybody instantly knew.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Najima was just like, well, but the important thing is we all had fun, right?
And everyone's like gives them the death glare. And then like Komi later says the same line, and everyone is instantly moved by it.
Yeah.
And then Najibi's like, "What? I said it, and you didn't give a shit." Like,
Yeah.
so good.
And then like one of my other favorites is the Katai, just because like I love that there's
Yeah.
like basically
Nice, that's so
a
good.
giant buff male version of Komi who's just like
Yeah.
equally as bad at communicating, and everyone's like terrified of him because he just looks so scary, except for the one girl who's like, he has such intense eyes. I love it.
Okay,
Same.
yo,
Ditto.
yo,
I love
like,
both. I love both.
And then the
Um.
my third favorite is, I keep forgetting her name, but the pink-haired girl who just like
Oh.
just
The
wants
Makaru.
competitive girl,
yeah,
yeah.
she
Yeah,
just
yeah.
tries to compete with everyone, especially
Yeah.
Komi.
Komi
like,
doesn't
the-
realize.
She
And that's the
sucks
thing, and
so
Komi
much.
doesn't even realize, and she's like, I'm going to beat her at everything in the school
My
festival,
rival.
or
Oh
the,
my
the
God.
sports festival. And she loses everything, and Komi is just
Yeah.
not even trying.
Oh,
It's so
man.
funny.
She's really good.
Momo,
Same,
who is your
same. Those top two, Najima and Kotami.
Katai.
Oh, Katai.
Katai, yeah, because I
Yeah.
love like the little low key like male ship.
Yep.
I'm like, it's funny. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
100% those two.
Also, that his whole everything he does with Tadano is so cute.
Is like
I love it.
kinda just a little bit gay. Like
Love
not
it.
like enough
Love
for
it.
you to like write an article about
It's
it.
just
but
like that. It's like
Oh, I'll be
enough
writing an
for.
article.
It's
There's the
enough
fanfictions
for.
out there. The
Oh,
fanfictions
there's
out there.
absolutely fanfics of that.
Oh, yeah,
There's enough.
archive our
It's
own.
just it's
Yeah.
enough for the homie. It's that homie
Yeah,
love.
yeah, yeah.
It's right
Love
there.
it.
Do you
Love
ship
it.
Katano?
100%. Love it. Love it.
Oh,
Love it.
oh man.
Oh
100%.
Christ! I just
Love it.
can't.
So I think so Night Girl's my number one, right? Part of that is just because of the joke about how she doesn't do anything really.
It's the mystery
Like,
behind her. Like, why
it-
does she have the one
I
gauntlet?
know, right? I think though legit, one of my favorite characters is Sasaki, the yo-yo girl.
Okay, yeah.
Oh
can
yeah,
see
I
that.
liked her too.
I like
I like that
her
side
a lot.
story. I liked
Yeah.
it.
I think
I like
her and Shogi girl, I think are tied for like number 2.
Shogi
'Cause-
is the
'cause-
other
'cause
girl
they're
that
the-
was with them on the trip, right?
Yeah.
Right. They're the best when they're together.
Yeah.
So I think that they're like that's why they're tied for me.
Okay.
Because they bring out more in Komi for one, but while still doing their like own thing. Because like they help Komi like see more stuff, and then like when they start having like a little bit of a bicker about like oh, like it's my fault that we weren't able to see everything today. And it's just like if you didn't make the schedule so hard, we would have been able to do it. It's just like, well, if you had eaten your stupid like food bastard,
Yeah,
we
your
would have been able to see-
takoyaki.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then
takoyaki.
Komi's like, well, we had fun, right? And then they were like, oh,
It's like,
Oh,
oh,
you're
right,
Uh,
right.
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because they were given that responsibility.
And then they both and then after that, they make up, and pretty much from that point on, from girls' night on, it's just like we have to make Tadakomi a thing, no
Mhm.
matter what.
Yep. It's everyone's mission, except maybe
Yeah.
Yamai's.
So
Yamai's
there's
probably honestly my second favorite because she just makes me
She's
fucking
really
die
funny.
inside. I
Oh my
laugh so
God.
much.
there's like a bit like later. I don't know if it'll be in the anime later, but like it just shows what like all the characters in the manga. It shows what everybody's doing like on their Oban festival, and it cuts to different characters doing whatever. But it cuts to the yo-yo girl, and she's with like an old man like doing training, and he's like, "Yes, slice it, slice the waterfall," and she's slicing a waterfall with the yo-yo.
Interesting.
It's just one panel, but it's so good.
I really hope I get to see this. I really want to
Yeah.
see this then.
It's
in the
really
end.
good.
All right. I think I feel I'm at this point now where Komi just finished and I know it just finished. I'm like literally like, so when's season 3 happening, guys? When's
Yeah.
season 3? And like in the meantime, I'm like, well, at least wait, no, there's no more My Dress Up Darling. I need season 2 of this. And I'm like turning to all these different shows as I'm getting deeper and deeper. And I'm like, all of them are just like, no, you
Yeah.
have to wait. And I'm like,
Okay. So actually, it was brought up. If you want like a little thing to tide you over, try a Haran-san.
well, I actually don't need more because I'm right now.
I feel like I want more, but I don't need it though.
Yeah, I don't really need it.
You're
Okay, so right
sending
now,
me
let me
mixed
just-
messages, Comrade.
I know.
Hear you.
Trust me, no, my mom has already been there. She's already supplied
I
me
did
with
recommend
all-
it to him. I did recommend that to him
I
if
got-
he likes this kind of stuff. Yeah.
I got. Wait, which one did you say? The
Haran Son. Yeah. It's
is
like
that the one with the little girl that no one
Yeah.
can? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. that
You
one.
recommended me that the Love is War, the
Love is where you gotta do it.
Yep.
Power Ranger one,
Oh
and
yeah.
then so you recommended those 3 to me. And meanwhile, I'm like just trying to get through fucking Shark Week this week, guys. It's Shark. It's the most important week of the year, everybody. But I'm just like, oh shit, that's happening. Primal and Harley Quinn just started. Westworld's going on, and I'm just like, damn, this is a lot, guys. But right now, I'm still going through. I'm like nearing the end of my Gundam Universal Century dive because I'm at Unicorn right now, and I just got like Thunderbolt Origin and like Hathaway.
Okay, Thunderbolt's the shit, by the way.
Oh, I know. I've seen the first season before. I just need to see it all again.
Thunderbolt's so good.
It's great. It's everyone dies to Jazz the show, but it's like that and JoJo and
I keep checking Netflix for more Stone Ocean. There's never more.
Well, it's okay
Oh,
because I already know the one everyone's been bothering. At least the longest one I've been bothered with. The longest one, the one I've been told to watch for
One
now
Piece.
for years. What?
One Piece.
One Piece.
Really?
And I'm like, I did start watching it with someone I play Destiny with, and we haven't actually gone back to it. And I only made it to like episode 30 something. And I'm looking at the number
Wow.
like,
Are there
someone's
like
like, yeah.
1,000?
Yes.
There's 1,000.
yes, there is. So that's why I'm just like, after Gundam and JoJo, like I'm gonna do all these I'm gonna enjoy all these shows that you guys recommend to me because they're not like
Yeah.
massive, and I'm gonna like take breaks in between all these large ones and be like,
Yeah.
time for a slice of life in between all this fucking pirate shit and like
Well, yeah,
JoJo's.
because didn't the author like actually confirm that like half the episodes, not half, but like a good chunk of them was like all legit filler? Like I thought I read that somewhere.
Oh,
People
God.
even tell me like, oh, you don't have to watch all of One Piece, just watch these specific episodes. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, no, I'm gonna watch them
Oh.
all. Just because that's what I do a lot anyway. I just
Fair.
go all
Yeah,
in.
I don't know. That sounds like not fun.
We'll see, because at least I've enjoyed the
like-
episodes I've seen so far.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like all these long form ones I haven't seen. It's like those. I
All the
eventually have to get to
classics.
Dragon Ball and every Dragon Ball show, Naruto, I guess. I don't
Do you
know.
have to
People
beat all
say
the Dragon Ball though? Like,
I
do you
don't know.
like
I'm not sure.
coming from the person who watched all the do you really like to watch all the Dragon Ball?
Yes.
Miles recommends the original at least to me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Original
Dragon
OG.
Ball.
I mean
Yeah.
the OG stuff.
I
Where it
like-
started. You gotta see where it
I
started.
like that the
Yeah.
OG Dragon Ball didn't have fuck all to do with power levels.
Yeah.
I like that it was just fun adventures of doing random crap.
I think that's why certain people like it more than the original. But I like to fuck with people. I just say
Yeah.
I was just gonna start with Dragon Ball GT and then see where I want to go from there.
Oh
and
my
I'm
God,
just really
come on!
angry.
What are you? What are you? A human
See?
embodiment of a hair
see,
trigger?
This
Jesus.
is why. Yeah, it works perfectly. Works every time. You just get everyone's emotionally compromised when I
I'm
say
It's
it.
okay.
I don't even like Dragon Ball that much. I'm already emotionally invested. Like, what the fuck?
It's okay. You should just watch the reincarnation ones, like Overlord
Oh.
are doing new season now after like 5 years or something. Love
Oh my
it. Or reincarnation of a slime. Like, just do
Yeah.
that.
And also,
Well,
I need to
wait,
watch
it's been that
Evangelion
long?
too, so that's gonna be great. I
It's
heard
been like
Evangelion will be
4+
fun.
years. It's been a while
wait,
for
oh.
Overlord.
Wow, that's surprising. I thought it was anyway. But
I don't
come
think
on,
so.
wait. What did you just say about Evangelion? What did you just say?
I said I still have to watch that, and I
Oh,
said
okay.
I'm looking forward to it. And I heard I'll get really depressed too, so I'm really
Hey,
gonna have fun.
I'll
with
watch it with you, man. I'll watch it with you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Mm.
But we do have at least. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to in October. Spy X Family gets its part 2 already, which I was very happy about.
Yeah!
And Mob Psycho season 3 comes out, so we're getting
Yeah, I'm
both of
excited for
those.
Mob. I'm excited.
So I'm really pumped for that right now. But I will say currently, at least my little like Saturday morning watches, I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen right now. And
Yeah.
so far so
How'd you like-
good.
You like it, right? Like
I like
good
it.
stuff.
I don't like it as much as like Spy X Family and Demon Slayer and
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
so-
different kind. It's a
but
So I
I
think
enjoy
like
it.
I like stopped watching at episode after the first season, like so after the first 12 episodes, just because I think like something came up or whatever, and I haven't like restarted it.
Well, you can
Andreas
join
is
us.
sh-
We're I'm at
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
stopped at
Andreas-
episode
Andreas-
12 is where
Oh,
we're
you
at.
did?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
perfect.
at episode 12.
How did
next
you guys watch that many episodes so fast? It
We
was
may
just
have
last
done
week. Whatever.
4 episodes a week, and this is the third week we only did 3 because
okay.
Andreas
I
said
mean-
to stop.
I mean,
at
Chris, I
11.
get that. Like the manga,
Yeah.
like I think again, it's like bazillion arcs ahead. But even like me personally reading the manga now because it's still being released, like it's kind of hit a wall. Like crazy plot
Yeah.
twist that happens. Like oh my god, things you
Alright.
wouldn't expect. But then it's like okay, like
Like
the fighting
at the end.
arc,
All right, tell
okay.
me if I'm wrong. At the end of the day, it's still like a pretty shonen jump kind of an anime, right? Like,
there's a twist. There's
oh,
a
okay.
twist.
No, that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
cool.
a twist.
Awesome.
There
Awesome.
is an oh shit moment. Like oh my god, like things really went to hell in
Okay,
a handbasket.
okay.
Like yeah.
Awesome. I like
Oh,
to
the
hear
cat's
that. That's I like being wrong. That's awesome.
But yeah, so I'm in like in the manga is an arc after the oh shit moment, and it's kind of just feels
Alright.
really muddled of like there's a fighting arc, but it's like competition points, but it's not like a tournament. It's a whole thing. Which I'm
Nice.
like, okay, can we just keep going? Like, but it is what it is. But yeah,
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
good stuff.
Okay. But I guess going to the Komi can't communicate kind of like
Komi.
flavor. Have you seen did you end up ever seeing Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie?
Not yet. I've heard about it though.
I don't know.
All
what
right,
that is.
it's like it's pretty like
Well, take a salty. So Taylor thought in the anime they did her dirty compared to the manga,
Yeah.
where like she's
I
like
think
yeah.
I think the manga is like I love the manga. The anime didn't hook me for some reason. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be real. Like
yeah,
I don't know
Tay
what
said,
it is.
yeah. It's
Mm.
like how they portray the girl. He just because he's done both. He's just like yeah. I just
Yeah,
he
I
just
don't know
did
what
her
it is.
dirty, I guess.
I don't know about dirty, but I haven't seen the whole thing. But I feel like there's something about the anime that just doesn't translate as well. Like that, the wholesomeness factor, like, isn't 1-to-1 from like the manga to the anime.
To my the one thing I'll say, my very limited experience, like
Yes.
for both, is that at least how they explained it to me when we watched both or whatever
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that it was wholesome because this guy, so premise, this guy has really, really bad luck, the protagonist, and like this girl that he's dating has really good luck in the fact that, like, say a sign falls from like a building and like she'll protect him, like, oh no, come over here. And I guess like it's really wholesome in that way, like, oh, it's so sweet, she's protecting this guy. And I guess for the anime, my limited experience and my bias thing was that it seemed like she seemed kind of portrayed as Two-Face, of us like, oh, like super, super bubbly, but then can like knock out a sign. Or I think in the manga, it's really wholesome where she's like, let me save you. Let me like be a good girlfriend and like be there for you when you have bad luck. Like, I'm your protector. Where in the anime, it just comes off as like, oh, you're Two-Face, like, you're really bubbly, but then like beats the shit out of something to save him. And it's like, why are you not Two-Face, but like this kind of coin, if that makes sense?
Weird.
Like flips
Okay.
on and off. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel that sounds like, because it's an anime, they don't have enough time to portray that like dichotomy or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, that's
Good
too bad. But did you see that? All right, did you? I recommended to you, Momo, the when will Ayumu make his next move? The
I haven't
shogi
seen
one.
that. No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay. It's by the same creator of Teasing Master Tagaki. All right.
Like all these names, I'm like, yeah.
You're like,
I
oh,
know.
sure.
I know. Sorry.
Like, sure.
All right.
I don't know.
When will Ayumu
Okay.
make his move? Is
When will he?
pretty good. I'm gonna say. The anime just started dropping episodes. Now, here's the deal. I couldn't get into Master Tagaki, like Teasing Master Tagaki, whatever, because like the protagonist is just like, he's like this like pretty mid guy who just falls for every meme and trap that this girl lays out. Like, no matter what it is, he's just like, oh yeah, I'm a fall for it. Even when he like looks at the audience, it's just like, this time I'm not gonna fall for this trap. Like, he falls for it. It's the most like, it's the most just like all right, we get it. He's adorable and dumb. We get it. And like the girl likes him. But so Ayumu, like, when will Ayumu make his next move? It's about this. It's about this guy who plays shogi with this girl. They're the only two members of this shogi club, and like his whole deal is that he likes this girl, and he's gonna confess to her after he beats her at shogi.
What?
But
and what does he like?
what?
Never get close.
But never does.
no, because shogi's like the one thing
did you say
that she's good at.
Okay, I misheard
And-
that. When you said
but here's the
beer,
thing,
I
here's
thought
the
you
thing.
said eat her, and I got really, really
Oh
Come
God!
on.
No,
Come on.
I was
I would-
like, huh?
look, I would talk about that with you when we're
What?
not recording.
Well, we're not.
We're also
No, but-
over 2 hours. So let's...
No, I know, but real talk, like real quick, the one thing that makes this show and manga way better than most other rom-coms is like the main character has something going for him, because like he's like this stoic dude, right? But like he lets slip like these other emotions every now and then, but he ends up being like really good at athletics in general.
Mhm.
And he ditched everything just to join this unofficial shogi club of hers because he really likes this girl. And she finds
Ooh.
that out like behind the scenes because she's like in the hallway like lurking around, and these other dudes are like, hey, like, you really need to join our club. There's no way we can make it to the championship finals without you. And he's just like, sorry, I'm already involved with another club. Maybe next year or something like that. And she overhears this, and it's just like, why is he wasting time with like losing to me every day when he could be doing this? And you know, there's like actually like something going on like for both characters, and I like it a lot. It's pretty good.
Cute.
Very, very cute.
Well, all right. I think
I'd
we've reached
recommend.
our time.
Copy that.
Chris,
Yeah.
Is there any place you want people to find you?
I was. Is it bad that my knee-jerk reaction was like my Tumblr that I don't use anymore?
I mean, whatever you want it to be, man.
Hold on. I guess I have a Twitter.
Yeah. Just shout it out and I'll also put it in the show notes too.
Chris Kim Schneider at my initials are CKS. That's my Twitter.
Okay.
Right now, I have a really, really fire in like illustration of Ryan Gosling in a fire, saying, "It. I made it for Valentine's Day. Have a look if you're interested."
That is actually
Only you,
quite
Chris.
interesting. Yeah,
Only
I'm
you, Chris.
piqued my interest there.
I think a lot more people than just me would be interested in this.
I think so too.
Actually, how old is Ryan Gosling now? It's been a while since I've
I'm
been
not too
drawing.
sure.
Not too
It's
old to be
okay.
Ken.
Yeah. There we go.
But Momo, where can people find you?
Oh, show. Insta _ the Momo, as well as TikTok, which is _the.momo. And yeah, you can find me for fun, cool photos and other anime stuff.
And she's got great like art, the cool paint with the awesome different
Yeah.
shapes
Cool
of
paint
the
textures
characters.
every day.
Yeah,
So
do a bunch
fucking
of
dope.
picture of the day, do abstract art with anime recommendations and stuff. So I need to do the
Have we done
Godzilla one.
Godzilla yet? I was gonna
Not
say.
yet. You want the blue, right? Blue fire,
Yes,
not
yes, yeah,
the
blue.
red. Okay,
You
good.
can do
to
Oh,
know.
red later.
yeah.
You can always do more than one. There's also all the
Ooh.
different
Of
monsters.
course.
You do like an
Yeah, there's
orange,
so
like
much.
fire Godzilla though.
Yeah, there's
For
plenty.
sure. I
Okay.
got this.
But
But
yeah. And then, of course, you can find James on Twitter and Instagram at InvaderJim124. You can
Mhm.
find me on Twitter at
Oh fuck! How did you
Comzilla.
get that name? That's a really good name.
Invader Jim. I've like literally had it like forever.
It's
Like, I
literally
was
That's
been
in-
since
really
the,
good.
since the show
OG.
came
I
out.
was like
yeah,
a
it's
huge
always-
fan of Invader Zim when
Yeah,
I was in
that's-
middle school. So
Classic.
way back when like instant messenger was a thing, I just like started with like, you know what, Invader Jim. That's a great idea.
Good one.
And
Yeah.
dude,
Good one.
I lost my mind when the Enter the Florpus movie came out and they actually made
Oh,
an
it's so
Invader
fucking
Jim
good.
character, and I was like, oh, I'm canon now.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, we're both canon in something. It's great. It only
Oh,
took
yeah.
like
damn.
fucking this entire lifetime so far.
Oh, do you have a pink Cyclops as an avatar?
No.
This is
There's
not
like
you.
silent style, like
All right, give me
Who
a
I?
second. I'm gonna find the real you.
But you can find me on Twitter at Comzilla and Instagram at Killashoosh. You can of course subscribe to the show on any podcast platform or YouTube at Sutro Sidetalk. If it is Apple Podcast, please give us a 5-star review. That would really help us out. Spotify, please rate us, and if it's YouTube, give us a like as well as subscribing. We are also on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Sutro Sidetalk, which, like I said last week, TikTok, we're finally fucking active. I started churning out clips from older episodes from January to now. I'm hitting up all the news-centric ones first, since those are the ones that'll expire the fastest. But once I've fully caught up on all of those, we will have more, I guess, expanse on the types of TikTok videos, everything from just my opinions on news, much smaller ones that wouldn't be necessarily on the show, to maybe little mini comic reviews, to showing off figures and unboxings maybe, but all that fun stuff throughout, in due time, of course. Sutro Side Watch, next episode is going to be License to Kill, the Timothy Dalton Bond movie, and that show is actually finally going to be on YouTube as well now, so that's going video. Kind of still, like I said, still working on the big massive coup de grace episode of where are all the fucking DC movies that were announced that we never see. That's coming up, but right now I'm just focusing on the TikTok stuff first. But next week we have going back to Marvel. We got Miss Marvel. We're going to talk about that, and maybe Nope, if we have time to do both. I would like to. We just watched that, and that was a good time, so we'll try to knock both of those out. I'm going to try to play Stray, so we could talk Stray, and yeah, I'm sure there's actually going to be a lot more stuff, but maybe there's going to be some
Nice.
time for some backlog catch up to talk some other stuff that I've been saving here. We'll see what happens, but yeah, that's everything. See you guys next week, but until then, have a great week, everybody. So long.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
listening.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
Definitely,
for
man.
listening. Bye.